On the other side, the doorbell rang. Zombie quickly opened the door. Who is it? Unexpectedly, it was Violet, who had come early in the morning to hurry him to work. Soon after, Zombie arrived at the Beyonders Academy. At that moment in the gymnasium, seeing that it was about time, Zhang Wanqi waved her hand. Next, please welcome our new chief, Zombie, to say a few words. As her voice fell, the students in the hall greeted Zombie. Hello, chief. Looking at the neatly arranged freshman before him, Zombie was also a bit dazed, and then touched his bald head awkwardly. Good morning everyone. You should be hungry. I brought some eggs. President, so you've been replaced. No choice. Who says I can beat him? Meanwhile, in the department head's office, Inspector Chen suddenly rushed in. This is getting serious. Saying this, she handed a cell phone to the department head. The president is calling. Hearing this, the department head was immediately startled. The department head was about to bring a gift to Zombie when he received a call from the president. Unexpectedly, the revival of the ancient being was already known worldwide. Inspector Chen was surprised. We haven't told anyone though. How could such a big event be kept secret? The exchange meeting is about to start. There are too many things happening at once. By the way, how are the eggs I asked you to buy? Hearing this, Inspector Chen hurriedly lifted 2 bags. Here they are. With that, the department head personally brought the gifts to Zombie's doorstep. Since he had made him the chief, assigning him to a duty should not be a problem. The department head rang Zombie's doorbell, but the door was opened by Violet. What surprised him most was that Violet was dressed in a beautiful maid outfit. Seeing this, the department head was momentarily stunned. Violet, what's going on here? It's not what you think. Isn't that the department head? At this moment, the department head was completely speechless. The both of you are playing like this. Even though Zombie got promoted, this is too brazen. At that moment, Zhang Wanqi only just realized her current situation. Department head, you've got it wrong. However, the department head didn't want to hear their explanations and turned around, ready to leave. Zhang Wanqi and Violet quickly stepped in front of him. We're just here to celebrate Zombie's promotion. You celebrate by dressing up like this? I've never seen you wear such outfits. But before he could finish, he noticed that Dawn was also in the room, with the former chief playing a card game with Zombie. The Iron Club president then made a party popper explode with a bang. At this moment, the department head was speechless. These people were just too outrageous. Just then, various fruits and vegetables were thrown into the air, and with expert slashing technique, it turned out to be Iron Club president demonstrating his knife skills. He was holding 2 plates of sushi prepared for Zombie, but suddenly he noticed a familiar figure standing at the door and immediately expressed in horror, I did all this because Zombie forced me. Fortunately, by this time, the department head was completely numb. He cleared his throat and announced, since everyone is here, I'll save the trouble of calling a meeting. There's something very important that we need to discuss. At this point, everyone was now sitting around a table. Aren't you the boss of the humans? Hearing this, the department head hastily explained that he was not. Actually, I'm just in charge of this province. As he prepared to remove his face shield, Zombie and the others looked on in anticipation, but the department head only revealed half of his face. Our planet only has 2 continents and only 2 countries. One is country A and the other is country B. The department head then continued to explain the history of the countries and the relationship between them, mentioning an exchange meeting that occurs for peace, but mainly for displaying military might. Hearing this, Zombie was immediately taken aback. So what is this exchange meeting? It's like a school sports day, or you could think of it as a military exercise. But every time, country B wins the competition. That sounds pointless. In the last round, there was a zombie elimination event, and one of their provinces eradicated more than 8 million zombies. Their strength is many times greater than ours. This statement sent a chill down Zombie's back. As our chief, this competition is going to rely on you. At this moment, Zombie was completely speechless. This girl still believes I'm a human. Fortunately, at this time, the department head interjected to relieve the tension. Don't worry, this time we are the ones that are managing the events. There won't be a zombie fighting event again. Meanwhile, on the other side of the earth, 2 tall and beautiful women walked into an office. At that time, the leader of Country B threw a document on the table and said, take a look for yourselves. This is a photo sent from Country A. Hearing this, the 2 women quickly picked up the photo from the table and examined it closely. When they saw that the moon had been pierced by a mecha, they were shocked. According to intelligence, it is very likely that Country A has acquired the technology of the ancient people. Next month, the president of Country A will visit our country. You 2 are my most capable subordinates, so I called you here to personally investigate this matter. As for your sister joining the rebellion, there is significant concern from the king. If you complete this task well, I will naturally plead on your behalf. Understood, Lord Prime Minister. In a mysterious laboratory, Professor Jamie was watching an experiment with a serious expression. Component number 1 is fully powered. As his voice fell, other staff also indicated they were ready. They were planning to revive the ancient person. Brother Fei, we can start now. But this ancient person has been dead for 1,000 years. Can we really revive him? Don't worry, there's nothing in biology I can't achieve. Let's start. Upon his order, a subordinate immediately switched the experiment circuit breaker. With a loud bang, the entire laboratory was engulfed in a bright light. If we really can revive that ancient person, then it will be a real miracle. As the intense electricity continuously ominously crackled over the body of the ancient being. In just a short while, suddenly, thick white smoke billowed out in the laboratory, and everyone was extremely nervous. After all, reviving a person was something they had never done before. Just then, the ancient being in the laboratory suddenly coughed. Seeing this, the green-haired subordinate was overjoyed. Fantastic, we did it. But as the white smoke slowly dissipated, what appeared was a bald, greasy middle-aged man. At this, the green-haired subordinate exploded. No way, did we get the program wrong? Where's the ancient being? The super cool mecha warrior? How did it turn into this? Saying this, the green-haired subordinate dashed into the laboratory. Tell me, where did the ancient being go? And who are you exactly? Why is the ancient being gone? Hearing this, the middle-aged man said with a wronged expression, I am the ancient being. You're lying. The ancient being we saw before was so handsome. Look at yourself. How can you compare? I'm an engineer. I don't know how to fight, so I designed a suit of armor for myself. What's wrong? Is there a problem with making myself look a bit cooler? Hearing this, Professor Jamie was speechless, realizing that after all this effort, they had only revived an engineer. But just as he was about to turn away and leave, the engineer inside suddenly spoke up. You and I are the same kind of people. How about it? Don't you want to talk to me? Go ahead. What do you want to talk about? Don't waste my time. I know we started from different points, but our goals are the same, so we can cooperate. Cooperate on what? You've already been defeated by zombie. I thought you might be a vessel stronger than a vampire, but it turned out to be a waste of my time. You should give up on your idea. We have studied zombies' genes for thousands of years, and your method simply won't work. What's scary about zombie is not his strength, but his capability of powering up endlessly. As of today, we are the two smartest people in this world. You have your expertise in biology and control over zombies' genes, and I possess unparalleled engineering. We can create a new zombie. At this, Professor Jamie and the others were startled. What do you think? Hearing this, Professor Jamie pushed up his glasses and stepped forward. Very well. I hope we can work well together. Meanwhile, Violet screamed in horror on the other side. You actually let this guy be the president's bodyguard. Violet accused that zombie could kill the president, and all he could do was point at himself in confusion. I have no choice. It's not peaceful in Country B, and they know about the ancient being, so I'm afraid it might be very dangerous for the president. With that statement, Violet and Jean Lanchi found themselves unable to refute. After all, Zombie was probably the only one capable of ensuring the president's safety. The department head stood up. Since there are no objections, then it's decided. Zombie, haven't you always wanted to enter the upper echelons of humanity? One word from the president, and no one will dare to question your identity anymore. However, your identity must remain hidden for now, as having a zombie in a government position would be quite explosive historically. Lastly, I want to say that from today, all the academy presidents in Guangzhou province will be under your command. To be safe, you can also bring 2 trusted aides with you. Don't disgrace Guangzhou province on this trip to Country B. With that, Zombie left the meeting and returned to H City. At this moment, in the city government office, Blackie and other subordinates had gathered. The department head has ordered me to serve as the president's bodyguard. Who among you wants to come with me? There's too much work in finance. I can't leave. Ako also hesitantly stated that he needed to maintain public order in H City and had no time. Only Ah Lang and Fur eagerly agreed, as they had long been bored of staying in H City. Unexpectedly, once they were outside, the boss tied them up again like pets. At this moment, Fur and Ah Lang were speechless. Just then, Violet and Jean Lanchi walked over. Seeing Fur and Ah Lang lying on the ground, Jean Lanchi immediately exclaimed with shining eyes, "What cute little dogs." Saying this, she squatted in front of Fur intending to pet him. But at that moment, Fur suddenly roared, "If your hand touches me, I'll bite you to death." This sudden change scared Jean Lanchi. They are zombie subordinates, not some little dogs. She then turned to Zombie. "Come with me. The president wants to see you." In no time, Zombie left under Violet's guidance. Upon arriving in a conference hall, it was already filled with professionals sent from various provinces. When they saw Zombie and others enter, one masked man immediately came forward and scoffed. "Has Guangzhou province run out of people? Sending a nobody like this? Where's the previous chief? I could take on 10 of you by myself." However, before he could finish, Zombie's fist had already landed on his face. With a bang, the man was smashed into a nearby wall. "What were you saying?" At this moment, the people in the hall showed expressions of disbelief. This newcomer from Guangzhou province was incredibly strong. Soon after, Zombie was called into the president's office. Zombie was very nervous, as this was his first time being a bodyguard. The department head from Guangzhou said, "You are very strong, fully capable of being a bodyguard, but I still want to ask, in case of danger, how would you protect me?" Hearing this, Zombie scratched his head. "Danger doesn't really exist for me." The president laughed. "Very good, worthy of being the man chosen by the department head of Guangzhou. I trust you." Just now, in a ruined city in Country B, a tall, beautiful woman was seen waiting for something. Suddenly, a big zombie over 2 meters tall wearing a mask approached her. "Boss, this is the equipment you wanted. The zombie army is also ready." "Very good, Ashi. Thank you for your hard work." She then emerged from the ruins. Seeing this, several subordinate zombies hurriedly followed. Soon, the woman reached the front of the zombie legion and shouted, "Brothers, do you know why humans always fight endlessly? I think humans are selfish creatures. You must have heard that the president of of Country A is coming here for a visit soon, and our mission is to assassinate him. A lot of people ask me why we do this, but this is just humans reaping what they sow. Although zombies did cause trouble at the outbreak, they are negligible in front of human technology. They continue to develop weapons and have military exercises where they eradicate zombies, but this is actually just an excuse for infighting between countries A and B, and they keep hiding the fact that zombies are also conscious. Because of the war, many kind humans were scattered by their artillery, and countless of our conscious zombies have been killed in cold blood. In reality, humans and zombies could have coexisted all this time. Usurp country A and B, unify the world. Hearing this, the members of the rebellion excitedly raised their hands, shouting to coexistence. Meanwhile, Zombie is leisurely drinking afternoon tea while they are on a private jet on the way to country B. The scene shifts back to country B, where at the airport, reporters have already started a global broadcast, all because this exchange meeting has become the focus of the entire world. Soon, a special plane flew over the city. Don't let anything happen to the president of country A after he lands. Are you saying sister might take action now? I'm just guessing, but knowing her personality, I think she would even blow up the plane if she could. Meanwhile, on the bustling street, a suspicious human was with a big figure. Everything is arranged. We will send the president of country A to the afterlife. However, before he could finish his sentence, a masked zombie next to him suddenly started convulsing, then uncontrollably collapsed to his knees. What's wrong with you? This is no time for jokes. Ashi heard this, but did not respond. Instead, he suddenly looked up at the plane above, as he seemed to sense something both familiar and terrifying on board. Just then, the private jet of the president of country A finally arrived at the airport, and officials and reporters from country B quickly gathered around. Suddenly, the plane's door slowly opened, but the person who stepped out was not the president of country A, but Zombie, wearing a suit and tie for the first time. Seeing this, Ashi quickly grabbed the walkie-talkie. Danger, stop. Hearing this, a blonde zombie was momentarily stunned. What's happening? Why do I suddenly feel a sense of fear? Even the boss on the high-rise couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat and immediately ordered the rebellion. This guy is not the president. Everyone stand down. At this moment, the scene of Zombie's appearance was broadcasted around the world. When people saw Zombie's odd appearance, their reaction was utter confusion and surprise. On the other side, the twin sisters were also taken aback by what they saw on the screen. Who is this guy? He seems to be a bodyguard listed with the president's entourage. The department head on the plane spoke to Zombie. Well done. Remember your task, which is to take a bullet for the president. Hearing this, Zombie was speechless. I can catch your missiles. Is there a need to do so much for a single bullet? Then he began to look around. After ensuring there was no danger nearby, the president of country A finally came out of the aircraft. The embassy head hurried forward and greeted. This is the governor of Hadi State, and he came to welcome you. Violet reminded Zombie to stay alert. Meanwhile, the boss of the rebellion was overwhelmed by Zombie's presence. Am I imagining things? At this moment, in the control room, the sisters were also taken aback. Strange. Why didn't Big Sis make a move? Since Sister has given up on the assassination, it's our turn to act now. I have installed a listening device in the shuttle car, and soon we will have accurate information about the ancient people by listening into their conversation. What they didn't expect was that the president of country A declined their shuttle fleet and then got into a prepared private car with Zombie nearby. Meanwhile, the department head on the plane also ordered to cut off the communication. However, the sisters who were unaware of this were still discussing who should protect the president of country A. Lanchi and Violet's abilities are too weak. In the last exchange meet, they were both brutally beaten and injured. Just then, a staff member suddenly shouted at them, "The president didn't take our prepared fleet. Instead, he got into another private car. Which one did they get into? Where is their location?" However, the staff member indicated that the signal was being jammed, and they could not track their location nor communicate with the others. This made the younger sister slam her hand on the table angrily. It's over. The president of country A is in danger. What they didn't know was that accompanying the president was Zombie, who represents the pinnacle of combat prowess. This time, they split into two groups. One group, including Violet and Lanchi, followed the original route to draw attention, while Zombie secretly escorted the president to the hotel on another route. Meanwhile, on a certain rooftop, Ah Xiao holding a walkie-talkie was waiting for orders. "Boss, should we continue the assassination? The target is with a strange fellow. We should temporarily." But before she could finish, the signal cut off. This left Ah Xiao stunned. To kill or not to kill? After some thought, Ah Xiao tossed aside his sniper rifle. "Just charge in and finish it. Don't worry, boss. I'll kill them all and then bring back the president's head to claim my reward." Meanwhile, in the private car, the president in the back seat suddenly broke the silence. "Chief Zombie, you are a zombie." This caught Zombie off guard. "You will protect me." To this, Zombie finally answered with a yes. The president was happy with his response. "With such great strength, do you ever think of taking over the world someday?" "Don't worry, I'm not interested in that," Zombie blurted out. However, these words caused the driver next to them to break out in a cold sweat at such an intense conversation. On the other side, the boss also received a report from her subordinates that they seemed to have lost contact with Ah Xiao. The two partners were discussing amongst themselves. They must have installed a jamming device on their convoy. Ah Xiao is probably attempting to hijack it right now. As the escort convoy was about to reach the hotel, Violet and Lan Qi suddenly sensed something. Indeed, it was Ah Xiao who rushed forward. He crashed down with a big explosion, disrupting the whole convoy. At this moment, Lan Qi and Violet were bewildered, wondering what was happening and why someone was attacking them. As they pondered, a figure slowly emerged from the smoke. When they clearly saw the person's face, Lan Qi was in disbelief, and at that moment, two figures flew in from a distant building. It was the two sisters trying to warn them. Violet, Lan Qi, run. This guy is dangerous. As soon as they finished speaking, Ah Xiao landed stylishly, then pulled out his combat knife. People from the other side of the world, watch closely. This is the power of our B country's zombie legion. Seeing this scene, the younger sister thought to herself that this was not good. This guy is a zombie boss under their sister. But before she could warn Lan Qi, Ah Xiao already had a black substance emanating from his hand. It turns out this was corpse oil, which only a zombie's true body could produce. As Ah Xiao pulled out a lighter, the next second, countless flames surged towards Lan Qi and her group. In just a moment, the surroundings had turned into a sea of fire. Get out of the way. These flames won't go out. Hearing this, Violet was shocked. Snow, rain, how are you here? However, Lan Qi was skeptical. It's just a zombie. What's all the fuss about? Meanwhile, on the other side, the boss quickly ordered her subordinates to bring back Ah Xiao. Don't worry, boss. I'll definitely bring that guy back. You don't need to support me anymore. I'm feeling much better now. But just then, a car slowly drove past them. It was the private car zombie was using to escort the president. The masked zombie seemed to sense something and looked inside the car, unexpectedly making eye contact with zombie sitting in the passenger seat. As they locked eyes, the recently recovered zombie began to tremble uncontrollably again. Back to the scene with Ah Xiao. Lan Qi, wielding a sword, charged at him, but at that moment, Ah Xiao suddenly threw a smoke grenade at her. With a bang, the area was quickly engulfed in thick white smoke. Before Lan Qi could react, a flash of a sword sliced through her head. Everyone around showed a look of disbelief. After knocking Lan Qi away with a punch, Ah Xiao became arrogant. Who's next? Seeing Lan Qi lying there, life uncertain, Violet was at a loss. Fortunately, the sisters arrived just in time, blocking Ah Xiao with their weapons. Take her to get medical help quickly. She might still survive. As for this blonde zombie, he's too much for you two to handle. Saying this, they drew their swords. Leave now, or we won't be polite. Ah Xiao became angry at this. If it weren't for the boss, I would have chopped you two into pieces long ago. If you don't get out of the way, I'll teach you both a lesson on her behalf today. He sliced his wrist with his long knife, and the next second, a large amount of corpse oil flowed from his wrist. To everyone's astonishment, fierce flames ignited around him. Soon, his entire body was enveloped in flames. Ah Xiao unleashed his transformation, Fire Flower. Seeing this, the sisters were shocked on the spot, astonished by his strength. How about that? Haven't seen a transformation before. I let you go before out of respect for the boss, and you really thought you were invincible. We can't handle him anymore. You guys need to run. But hearing this, Violet was not scared, but instead stretched out her hand, ready to transform. However, just as she was about to go and beat up Ah Xiao, Lan Qi's voice suddenly came from beside her. Last time you took the spotlight, this time it's definitely my turn. As her words fell, the previously dying Lan Qi miraculously stood up. Everyone was shocked to see this. Lan Qi had also transformed. At this moment, the sisters were dumbfounded. What's going on? I've been waiting so long. Finally got the chance to experience our great chief genes. Make this quick. Don't waste time. Are you still human? What's going on? Why do I feel a sense of kinship? However, before he could think it through, Lan Qi taunted. Weren't you acting all tough just now? Why are you scared now? Hearing this, Ah Xiao couldn't hold back any longer and swiftly spread his arms in front of him. Accompanied by a loud bang, a terrifying flame erupted, rushing towards Lan Qi at high speed. But facing such fearsome flames, Lan Qi merely opened her mouth and inhaled, swallowing all the flames. This is too exaggerated. Interesting, but before he could finish speaking, Lan Qi had forcefully delivered a back kick. Ah Xiao, sent flying, wore a look of disbelief. How is this possible? Can a human really kick with that much force? Just as he was preparing to counterattack, the boss's roaring voice suddenly came through the earpiece. Ah Xiao, you hear me? Get back here now. You fool. Respond immediately. I am very, very busy right now. Meanwhile, at a hotel, Zombie had just gotten out of the car when he received a call from the department head. The department head said that Violet was encountering some trouble and needed him to check it out. The department head reassured Zombie, it's safe now that you're at the hotel. It's all our own people here. As ordered by the department head, Zombie now makes his way to the battlefield. The scene shifts back to Lan Qi. This was her first time using Zombie's genes. She was still somewhat unaccustomed. Just a few days ago, Dawn had just come out of the lab when she saw Lan Qi holding Zombie's blood, ready to inject it into herself. Lan Qi felt that since they were both presidents, why should Violet's strength be greater than hers? They had always been rivals, but ever since Violet received Zombie's genes, her power had undergone a drastic transformation. We haven't fully researched this stuff yet. What if there are adverse effects after using it? But Lan Qi wouldn't listen. In order to not be outdone by Violet, she didn't hesitate to inject Zombie's blood into herself. The scene returns to the present. Having completed her transformation, she felt incredibly exhilarated. Lan Qi, make sure to control your emotions. But before she could finish, Xiao across from them roared with excitement. That kick just now was not bad. Come on, let's play a couple more rounds. Hearing this, the twin sisters were dumbfounded, seeing Xiao this excited for the first time. Even more surprising was Lanqi, who suddenly opened her mouth. In the next second, countless flames sprayed out from it. This scene left everyone present in disbelief. Xiao was sizzling from the flames. Then Lanqi appeared above his head, followed by a strong punch. With a bang, Lanqi smashed Xiao into the ground. After it was done, Lanqi couldn't help but laugh loudly. This feeling is just too great. What the heck is this thing? Why did you suddenly become so strong? Stop fighting. You'll lose your mind if you keep this up. However, by then Lanqi was no longer listening, as she was now obsessed with the idea of devouring Xiao. Seeing this, the sisters were stunned. Just then, Lanqi, drooling, said she wanted to eat Xiao. Hearing this, Xiao was startled. What the heck? Just who is the zombie here? But before he could finish, the boss's roaring voice came through the earpiece again. Xiao, you fool, get back here. Something terrible is flying your way. Just as her words ended, a powerful presence suddenly came from the sky. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the sky. It was none other than Zombie. Following a loud explosion, Zombie created a huge crater. At that moment, Xiao was still defiant. I'm not leaving. We haven't settled who's stronger yet. But just then, another zombie suddenly appeared behind him. Regardless of his willingness, whisked him away with. Seeing this, Lanqi immediately exclaimed angrily, none of you are getting out of here alive today. Xiao, in the air, also expressed his frustration. I'm not done playing yet. If you keep playing, you're going to end up dead here. While they were talking, Lanqi suddenly emitted a blue energy beam from her mouth. The blue beam covered the entire sky. But the new zombie calmly raised his hand, and with a wave, he redirected the energy beams onto a nearby building. The sisters watching the battle were utterly baffled. Is this some kind of new technology? While they were puzzled, the aftermath of the battle suddenly knocked them to the ground. Worse still, the building struck by the energy beams started to collapse toward them. Just as the sisters were about to be crushed, a powerful punch had made a massive hole in the building. The older sister quickly looked forward, only to see Zombie standing there, blocking the collapsing building. Seeing this, the sisters were in disbelief, awed by the man's incredible strength. As Zombie slowly turned his head, he revealed a handsome and rugged face, his third form. The twin sisters were shocked by this display, but before they could reflect further, Lanqi lost control again. Just as the situation seemed to spiral out of control, Zombie suddenly raised his hand and grasped at the void. The next second, the mask on Lanqi's face shattered, and she reverted from her transformed state. This left the twin sisters dumbfounded, wondering about the man who had effortlessly resolved the crisis. At this moment, Violet quickly reverted from her transformation. The now lucid Lanqi was stunned. What just happened? Why am I so tired? Violet hurriedly approached her and supported her. Didn't I tell you to control your emotions? While everyone was observing Lanqi and her group, Zombie had already reverted to his original, dorky state. This change startled the twin sisters. That's strange. They had just seen a handsome guy. The younger sister also affirmed that she indeed saw him. But why did that handsome guy suddenly disappear? Were we seeing things? Following their gaze, it turned out that Zombie was explaining something to Violet and her group. In a little while, Zombie took Lanqi and the others and drove away from the scene. They must have mastered the power of ancient technology. Damn, they weren't a match for us before, but now they have become so powerful. While Rain was ranting, her sister suddenly received a call from a subordinate. They say the president of country A has already arrived at the hotel. You were tricked. Hearing this news, Snow was not annoyed. Instead, she asked her subordinate to look up Zombie's information. Meanwhile, with a bang, Xiao and his ally arrived at a rooftop. What are you doing? I haven't finished fighting yet. Shut up. If it weren't for me, you'd be dead already. Also, on the way here, I suddenly felt two unfamiliar presences, probably two powerful zombie bosses invading our territory. Hearing this, Xiao was startled at this news. It turns out that just then, as a plane landed inside a crate-marked pet transport, Fur and Ah Lang were speechless. Fur and Ah Lang could no longer contain themselves. Lanqi suddenly came forward. Keep it down. If you blow our cover, I'll tell your boss. Hearing this, Fur immediately thought of Varmint, who was still hanging from the city hall building. He worried that if he accidentally angered the boss, he might end up like Varmint. With this thought, Fur hastily started barking at the air. Wow, your pets look quite unique. They are indeed unique, but you really shouldn't provoke them. We can't control them if they go mad. Hearing this, the twin sisters were momentarily stunned, but thinking about their recent unusual transformation, they didn't know what to say. Fortunately, at that moment, Violet stepped forward and shook their hands. The visit starts in 2 days. I hope we can work well together. With that, after some brief explanations, Lanqi and her group, including Fur and Ah Lang, left the airport. They definitely won't reveal the source of that power. How is it? Has the expert I asked you to find arrived yet? Don't worry, he'll be here in a couple of days. With him around, we'll eventually uncover the secrets of Lanqi and her group. In the following days, it was time for the mutual visits of the presidents of the two countries. The president of country A not only discussed the business models of country B, but also visited some cutting-edge scientific research projects. Towards the end of his visit, he even met with the queen of country B. At this time, in a certain control room, bathroom, the twin sisters were staring at the screen, lost in thought at the image of Zombie. We saw a handsome guy before. How did he suddenly turn into this? Just then, a man walked through the door. You're finally here. Indeed, the person who arrived was the external help they had invited, the hypnotist with the ability to extract memories. Chui, the Prime Minister sent me to assist you. Tell me, whose memory do you need me to extract? This guy is all mysterious, yet he's the personal bodyguard of the president of country A. Moreover, we've never had any intel on him before. Now that the visit is almost over, we must quickly uncover the secrets of the ancients from him. Don't worry, there's nothing I can't handle, Chui said confidently, then pulled out a strange bottle from his pocket. Immediately after, a puff of white smoke emerged around him. Chui had transformed into the appearance of the president of country A. Seeing this, the twin sisters were overjoyed. Excellent, now we look forward to your performance. Meanwhile, Zombie, having finished his day's duties as a bodyguard, was resting in the hallway. At that moment, Violet bought a drink and handed it to Zombie. I'm really curious. The ancients know about your existence, so how old are you exactly? Zombie was speechless. I've actually forgotten myself. Seeing that she couldn't get any information, Violet turned around and left. Never mind, it's pointless asking anyway. I'm going to sleep. Not long after Violet left, two sneaky figures appeared in the hallway. Are you sure we have to come here? Actually, I just wanted to confirm who it was that I saw that day. Why it gave me such an inexplicable sense of oppression. Having said that, the masked zombie quietly moved to the edge of the wall to start peeking, but he had only glanced at Zombie's back when he suddenly felt as if he could hardly breathe. It was a sense of absolute suppression from the bloodline, a formidable aura that could not be shaken. The masked zombie quickly grabbed his partner and ran away. Danger! I give up! After they had left, Zombie's phone suddenly started beeping. Violet's voice came through, saying that the president needed him and asked him to come to room 14. However, the call to Zombie wasn't actually from the real Violet, but rather Snow using her powers to impersonate her. Soon, Zombie arrived at room 14 as Snow had mentioned, and sitting inside was the president, impersonated by Chui. Meanwhile, Lanchi suddenly came to Violet's room and said, the president is looking for us. On their way to the president's room, they kept trying to contact Zombie, but strangely, they couldn't get through. It turned out that the communication signals in the building had already been cut off by Snow and her group. So, having no choice, Lanchi and Violet had to first go to the president's room. At that moment, Violet stepped forward. President, you called us here for something? Actually, I wanted to go to the bathroom. Hearing this, Lanchi and Violet were speechless, but with no other options, they still escorted the president to the bathroom. Looking at the men's bathroom to the left, they again started to worry. We are on our own turf, so there shouldn't be any problems. However, what they didn't know was that the masked zombie and his partner were also inside. Ashi, you were the one that brought me here. Why are you running away? Hearing this, Ashi was also embarrassed. Actually, I just wanted to confirm something and see if there were any opportunities to capture the president. As they were talking, the president came over and started to pee. Suddenly, the entire bathroom became eerily quiet. Unaware of anything, the president even joked, looking good. But the next second, a loud crash exploded from the side of the building. It was Ashi and his partner running away with the president over his shoulder. We really hit the jackpot. Violet and Lanchi looked inside of the male's bathroom to investigate the noise. But to their surprise, all they saw was an empty bathroom and a massive hole in the wall. At this, Violet and Lanchi were completely panicked. They hurriedly informed the security team, notify the people of Country B that the president has encountered a problem on their turf, ask them to come help quickly. However, at such a critical moment, they couldn't get in touch with Zombie. I might as well transform and go find him myself, but Violet stopped her. Don't rush, calm down first. Don't forget, a few days ago you almost didn't make it back. Without Zombie here, you could end up killing everyone here, even the president. I don't dare to try that power lightly. While they were unsure of what to do, Violet suddenly noticed the cage nearby. Indeed, it was Fur and Ao Lang who were being kept as pets in the cage, holding the president's personal belongings for Fur to sniff and track. Can you help us find the president? Looking at the two silly figures, Lanchi couldn't help but criticize. Can these guys really be of any help? But before she could finish speaking, Ao Lang grabbed Fur by the collar, and then with a swoosh, he threw him out under the astonished gazes of Violet and Lanchi. Accompanied by a loud boom, a hole was smashed in the building. The powerful blast made it hard for Violet and Lanchi to keep their eyes open. Finally, freedom. Saying this, he crouched down to gather strength, and then shot out like a cannonball. At this moment, the guards in the hallway were stunned. Is there an earthquake? Lanchi and Violet in the room were even more baffled. How is this different from our transformations? Meanwhile, as a whooshing sound of something tearing through the air arose, the masked zombie in the front instantly felt a strong force approaching. If you don't want to die, leave the people behind. Upon hearing this, the masked zombie was stunned. Damn, the folks from Country A are actually raising zombie bosses. Saying this, he hurriedly ran towards headquarters. However, Fur and Ao Lang were relentlessly pursuing them from behind. Ao Lang screamed a death threat to the pursued. The scene switches back to Lanchi and Violet, who are looking at each other at this moment. What should we do? Chase after them. And so, Lanchi and Violet also quickly followed them. Thus, six figures chased each other throughout the night. Soon, the masked zombie brought the president back to his his own headquarters. Seeing this, Ah Xiao was startled. Ashi, what are you guys up to in the middle of the night? Wait, is that the president? Don't just stand here. Two troublemakers are chasing after us from behind. As soon as his words fell, Fur and Ah Lang arrived to the scene. Feeling the strong aura emanating from the others, the zombies from Country B were all frozen in place. I advise you to hand over the person. We don't want a war. Why would we zombies start fighting before the humans of the two countries did? As leaders of the zombies, why choose to help humans? What right do you have to judge me? Look at yourselves. Aren't you mingling with humans just the same? However, the Lieutenant Zombie claimed that everything they did was for the sake of the zombie community, to enable zombies to live better in this world. Hearing this, Ah Lang did not retort but slowly began to reveal his own origins. It turns out that Ah Lang's true form was actually a crow. As a beneficial bird, its daily task was to help humans clean up corpses and trash. Although it became a corpse bird due to a virus, it had never harmed any humans. But for some reason, though it had done nothing, it became the symbol of pests, terror, and evil to the humans. Yet despite this, he still did not harbor hatred towards humans, instead lamenting the injustice of fate. He was actually envious of the humans. Why couldn't he walk like humans, becoming a higher being with consciousness and intelligence? However, reality is often cruel. As a corpse bird, he ultimately met his end at the hands of human gunfire. Just as he was on his last breath, suddenly a strange guy appeared. It was none other than our protagonist, Zombie. He rescued Ah Lang from the ruins. I didn't expect you to survive in this chaos without your lower body and wings too. He held Ah Lang in his hands. From today onwards, you'll be called Ah Lang. And you must remember, hatred and destruction solve nothing. We need to learn to coexist peacefully with humans. The scene returns to the present with Ah Lang continuing to persuade. The facts prove that our plan is greater. Abandon those foolish ideas of yours. It seems we can't agree. Violet and Lanchi finally caught up. At this moment, Ah Xiao was growing impatient. Agui, why are you even talking to them? This is not your territory. Don't think we are pushovers. Just as a fight was about to break out, Ah Lang suddenly began to release steam. Then, to the astonished gazes of Violet and Lanchi, he slowly transformed into a handsome man. It turns out that ever since Zombie learned of Ah Lang's dream to become human, he had used the power of bloodline to initiate Ah Lang's transformation. The newly transformed Ah Lang had a strong presence. I have no intentions of negotiating with you either. Lanchi and Violet were shocked. Weren't you a dog? How did you turn into this? A bird without wings trying to disguise as a human. Ah Lang had no words for his opponent and just stared at him with disdain. Just because you changed your look, what are you so arrogant about? As he spoke, Ah Xiao began to gather strength in both hands. Accompanied by a loud noise, a pillar of fire shot straight at Ah Lang. Be careful. Don't try to withstand this guy's flames directly. As soon as her words fell, Ah Lang blew a breath towards the flames in front of him. The next second, the blazing fire was blown into the sky. Seeing that they couldn't be of any help, Lanchi and Violet could only stay out of the way. Let's leave this to them and go find the president. As they were speaking, Ah Xiao suddenly flew in front of Ah Lang. But before he could strike, Ah Lang punched him in the stomach. Seeing this, everyone showed expressions of disbelief at Ah Lang's speed. Immediately after, the powerful force sent him flying hundreds of meters away. How can the zombies from Country A be so strong? However, before he could ponder further, Ah Lang suddenly reeled back his claw. Then he sliced the building in front of him into countless pieces with a swift motion. The residual force even sent the surrounding zombies flying. Seeing this, Agui was stunned in place, simply because Ah Xiao had been knocked down back into his original form without even withstanding a single move, lying on the ground incapacitated. Damn, this guy's power is too terrifying. Can we really defeat him? Meanwhile, Ah Lang was still extinguishing the flames. All zombies of Country B, listen up. Let's drive these two foreign zombies out. Saying that, he threw countless daggers at Ah Lang, but not a single hair on Ah Lang was cut. At this moment, Agui quickly bent down to gather strength, then lunged at Ah Lang with a dagger. However, accompanied by a loud bang, Agui's dagger instantly broke. I can't even break his defense. Meanwhile, Lanchi and Violet finally found the president. Sensing someone chasing from behind, the masked zombie hurriedly ran outside. Agui then ordered the zombie legion, block them. Countless zombies surrounded them from all directions. However, just then, Fur suddenly appeared among them. Accompanied by a series of low growls, Fur's arms instantly extended hundreds of meters. With a loud bang, numerous buildings instantly turned to rubble. Immediately after, Fur transformed into a terrifying kaiju-sized monster. Seeing this, Violet's jaw almost dropped. What the hell is this? Fur stomped a building into rubble. At this moment, Agui completely panicked. My god, is this an ancient aberrant species? Fur stood tall, higher than any high-rise in the city. The ones who kidnapped the president also saw the towering Fur, a legendary level aberrant species. The masked zombie then handed the president to his partner. Take this guy to the boss. I must stay here to hold them off. Go start up the consciousness enhancement device. Facing such a behemoth, I'm not sure I can win. I have to use all my strength, or else our zombies from Country B might all end up buried here. On the other side, Agui was grinding his teeth. Damn, there are still monsters from ancient times in this era. Just then, Ah Lang swished onto Fur's body. Facing such a terrifying duo, the zombies of Country B immediately felt like they were facing a great enemy. On the other side, the man hurried to the headquarters. Boss, there's trouble. However, before he could finish, the boss already knew. I've seen it all. So, what about this president from country A? The boss was very annoyed at the question. Just kill him directly. Why did you bring him here? But the subordinate urgently dashed away. Agui and the others are in danger. I need to go help them. He approached a device, ready to activate the consciousness enhancement device. But if this thing is turned up too high, there could be adverse effects. After thinking it over, he still set the consciousness enhancement's energy to the maximum. Instantly, all the zombies of country B that were present became wildly ferocious. I didn't expect this kind of trump card, a combination with human technology. But in the end, they are all still weaklings. As his words fell, Fur readily swung his arm at them. Fur delivered a great force upon the zombie legion of country B, and they were instantly annihilated. This force was so strong that the city was reduced to rubble, and countless zombies were flung away from the wind pressure. Everyone was shocked at this display of strength. Seeing this, Agui was uncontrollably furious, then rushed up to Alang, but was easily caught by him. Before he could react, he was violently smashed into the ground. On the other side, Ashi also charged at Fur recklessly. Seeing this, his partner turned the consciousness up to the maximum. As the energy continuously stimulated Ashi's brain, the next second, Ashi also transformed into a monster hundreds of meters tall. Seeing the zombie that had suddenly transformed, Fur paused. Could it be that you are my kin? But before he could finish, Ashi had already rushed towards him. Meanwhile, Alang was completely silent, while Agui appeared in front of him swinging his fist. If you're so powerful, why choose to help humans? Shouldn't you stand on the same side as us? Hearing this, Alang also clenched his fists. Sorry, we only follow the boss's orders. Then he punched Agui in the face, knocking him into the air. We just want the continuation of our species. What did we do wrong? The scene switches back to Fur and Ashi, and amidst the thunderous roars, we don't welcome you here. Get out now. But Fur said indifferently, if you don't hand over the president now, I really will go on a rampage. Despite Ashi's great effort, Fur was not budging even an inch. Fur grabbed Ashi by the neck. At this moment, Lanchi and Violet, watching from a distance, were stunned. No way. However, just then, a blood-red energy began to gather in Fur's hand. Accompanied by a loud bang, the energy blast sent Ashi flying. Fur lifted Ashi again. I can't believe you have such power, yet you choose to be human lapdogs. Why not just wipe out humanity and create a planet only for zombies? Fur didn't argue. Instead, he slowly revealed his own origins. It turns out that a long time ago, there were many alien family zombies. As alien zombies, they not only had their own territories, but also lived isolated from the world. Although they were ugly, they never thought about harming humans. But suddenly one day, countless mecha warriors descended from the sky, bringing with them powerful high-tech weapons. Just because of the phrase, those who are not of our kind have different hearts, all the alien species were exterminated. To avoid human pursuit, Fur's mother hid him, then still a child, in a cave. At that time, Fur was terrified. He couldn't understand why humans wanted to eradicate them completely. It wasn't until he saw his parents die at the hands of humans that he swore never to trust humans again. He must avenge his parents and kill all the humans. But just then, a human suddenly discovered him behind the cave. Just as young Fur was about to die there, suddenly, with a bang, the human turned into a pile of scrap metal. The one who saved Fur was our protagonist, Zombie. Witnessing this scene, was stunned. He hadn't expected the zombie before him to be so powerful. In less than 2 seconds, all the humans were completely destroyed by Zombie. Just then, the commander on the spaceship hurriedly ordered, turn on all weapons. As soon as his words ended, countless missiles were fired towards Zombie. However, the missiles had only gotten halfway when Zombie suddenly appeared in front of the battleship. The next second, all the missiles were obliterated by the giant tidal wave raised by Zombie. As for those battleships, they were no match for the terrifying tidal wave. At this critical moment, the main ship on the other side of Earth hurriedly launched an electromagnetic railgun ray. Accompanied by a loud bang, a golden beam of light shot rapidly towards Zombie. In just a moment, the terrifying ray blasted a huge hole in Earth. However, as the dust gradually settled, Zombie was completely unharmed. Seeing this scene, humans were astounded. Not even their strongest mechanical warrior could stop him. As soon as it appeared, Zombie punched it into scrap metal. Even the command battleship far in outer space was completely destroyed by Zombie at this moment. Fur never expected that a fellow creature could be so terrifying, capable of single-handedly destroying a human civilization, including all life on Earth. This great war even split the original continent into two, creating what are now countries A and B. However, after doing all this, Zombie suddenly felt very empty. Looking at the world, now silent as death, he began to regret. Suddenly, Fur crawled out of the rubble, but what he saw was Zombie's loneliest moment. Zombie got dressed, and just as he was about to leave, he suddenly spotted Alang under the rubble. All of this was witnessed by Fur. Thus, when Zombie took Alang under his wing, Fur hurriedly followed, bare-bottomed. From that moment, Zombie decided that instead of destroying civilizations at the drop of a hat, he might as well try to coexist peacefully with humans. After all I've said, do you finally understand? He flung Ashi away. Seeing this, Lanchi and Violet were dumbfounded, feeling that the situation was quickly spiraling out of control. Fallen on the ground, Ashi angrily roared, everything you just just said is nonsense. There can't possibly be such powerful zombies in this world. However, just as they were locked in an intractable argument, Zombie was still in the office of the fake president. When the fake president used his special abilities to steal Zombie's memories, he immediately broke into a cold sweat, especially when he saw Zombie single-handedly destroying a previous civilization. He couldn't help but cough out a mouthful of fresh blood. This sudden turn of events left the sisters next door in disbelief. What's going on? What exactly did you see? Why are you so scared? But at this moment, Chui was near unconsciousness, only managing to say intermittently, after he wiped out our ancestors, before he completely passed out. Hearing this, the sisters were momentarily stunned. What do you mean? Speak clearly. After saying this, they hurried over from next door. After they left the room, Zombie finally came to his senses. Looking at the empty room, Zombie wondered, where's the president? Did I fall asleep just now? You could have finished your sentence before fainting. With the interference gone, Zombie finally received a call from the department head. I've finally reached you. There's been a big incident. The president has been kidnapped. Wasn't the president just here? Nonsense. The president was kidnapped half an hour ago. Hurry up and chase after him. Zombie immediately launched himself outside, zooming through the sky. On the other side, after being taken to the emergency room, the Chui never came out again. Can you hurry up? We are still waiting for his response. Sorry. He may never be able to speak again because he has went into a vegetative state. Hearing this, the sisters were dumbfounded on the spot. The scene shifts back to Ashi, who couldn't help but curse angrily. If there really are such powerful zombies in this world, why are we still living such hard lives? I've given you a chance. Don't blame me for being ruthless now. Do you think we're afraid of you? Come on. If you want the president, you'll have to step over my dead body. As soon as his words fell, all the zombies of Country B went into a frenzy. At this moment, Lanchi, who was watching from the side, was stunned, seeing that they wouldn't listen, for no longer held back. Immediately after, he gathered a blood-red orb of light in the air. Feeling that terrifying aura, Agui was instantly stunned on the spot, and Lanchi and Violet desperately shouted, "Stop! Stop now! Don't fight anymore!" Just as Ashi thought he was doomed, a hand suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The next second, the forming orb of light was frozen in place. Seeing this, Agui was in disbelief. Indeed, the newcomer was none other than our protagonist, Zombie. When Ashi clearly saw the person before him, he was also shocked, as he felt an overwhelming dread from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, Zombie slowly raised his hand. Stop! The ordinary zombies, unaware of what was happening, had already madly rushed towards Fur. However, as they neared Ashi, they were suddenly struck by such an imposing aura that they trembled all over, and Ashi himself couldn't stop the cold sweat as he felt a terrifying pressure emanating from Zombie. Just then, Zombie suddenly turned back to look at the group of ordinary zombies below. Unexpectedly, just a glance was enough to frighten all the zombies into kneeling. The zombies even collectively cried out to Zombie, "Long live our king!" This scene baffled Lanchi standing by. Why did it suddenly get quiet? Now you have met him. At this moment, Ashi was beyond shocked. He could never have imagined that the person before him was of his own kind, and seemingly even the progenitor of all zombies. Where is the human president? In the underground level, Ashi stammered in his response. After Zombie left, Agui collapsed in relief. That was terrifying. Facing two zombie bosses didn't feel as oppressive as him. The scene shifts to the basement, where the boss is pointing a handgun at the president. "I will never show mercy to my enemies. Rest in peace." Wait, you must be the leader of Country B's rebel group. You've made quite a name for yourself. Do you think a few sweet words will spare you? Die. Wait, I have ancient human technological data. Do you not want it? Hearing this, the boss was momentarily stunned, then quickly pulled off the president's hood. You better explain yourself quickly. If you don't satisfy me, I'll make sure your death is particularly gruesome. The reason why my visit became particularly more important is because your leader wants to get ancient human technological data from me. With this knowledge, you can even take down Country B by yourself. You think I'm stupid? All this nonsense, just to stall for time? Just as she was about to pull the trigger, several zombies suddenly rushed in and pinned her to the ground. What are you doing? I am your leader. Are you trying to rebel? However, before she could finish speaking, Zombie suddenly appeared in front of her. The boss was infuriated with her zombie subordinates. Why are you stopping me? But just then, she realized Zombie was looming over her. Just who are you? I didn't expect the zombie leader of the B region to be a human girl. Interesting. While I have no interest in the politics of Country B, you are not allowed to kill this man while I am here. Hearing this, the boss was stunned. She hadn't expected this person before her to also be a zombie. What does it have to do with you? Chief Zombie, you finally made it. The boss then started to bark orders at her zombie subordinates. Let go of me. If we don't kill him now, we'll never get another chance. But hearing this, the two zombies showed no reaction at all, not even bothering to glance at her. Seeing this, the boss was dumbfounded. Could it be that the consciousness enhancement device isn't working? Zombie suddenly turned to the two zombies. Let her go after we leave. We must be civilized zombies. No random killing. Just like that, the assassination plan of Country B's zombie legion completely failed. Soon, Lanchi and Violet came forward. Mr. President, are you alright? You nearly scared us to death. The president laughed. Don't worry, I'm fine. Who would have thought that just going to the bathroom would lead to such an event? Let's just consider it a tour. Zombie was in the back wondering how the the president appeared there even though they were chatting before he zoned out, while Lanchi and Violet were left speechless. Afterwards, Zombie took the president and Lanchi and her group back to the hotel. Once they had all left, Lang said to the remaining zombies, "You're very lucky." Agui only scoffed at Lang's comment in a cold sweat, while Fur was threading through the city in his gigantic form. Thus, after this little incident, the president's final day of the visit was about to end. Due to this unexpected event, Zombie took no chances and even brought out Fur and Lang. A young boy nearby, seeing them, pointed and shouted, "Those doggies are so cute." Meanwhile, on the other side, due to the failure of their mission, the twin sisters were terrified, uncertain of the punishment they would face next. Quickly, a month passed by without notice. At a special training site, Lanchi, holding a sword, was ready to transform. Facing her was Violet, who also possessed the power of bloodline. Under Violet's guidance, Lanchi quickly mastered the technique of transformation. Feeling the change in her opponent, Violet quickly assumed an attack stance. At this moment, the onlooking Dawn was speechless at the intensity of the battle. The combatants were fighting all around the arena in blinding speeds. However, at this moment, Lanchi excitedly shouted, "This feeling is just too awesome." No sooner had her words faded than Lanchi and Violet crashed into each other again. This time, the two were evenly matched. But just then, Violet suddenly used her long legs to deliver a high kick, instantly sending Lanchi flying. However, just when Violet thought she had won the fight, Lanchi suddenly counterattacked with a handstand kick, striking Violet right under the chin. Seeing this, Dawn hurriedly shouted, "Stop fighting, we've already collected all the data." But at that moment, the two had completely lost their reason and clashed together again with a bang, fighting fiercely, fist to flesh. After trading countless blows, they finally separated for a moment. Both understood that mere close combat could not determine a winner. Thus, they each picked up their weapons, ready to unleash their ultimate moves to end the fight. Accompanied by a loud boom, two skyscrapers outside began to sway dangerously. Seeing that the situation was about to spiral out of control, Dawn urgently yelled, "Release the sedative." As soon as her words fell, a large amount of white mist began to release around the training area. But at that moment, Violet and Lanchi, blinded by rage, seemed unaffected by the ordinary sedatives. Suddenly, each holding a broken blade, they charged at each other. Seeing this, Dawn was shocked at their resilience. They clashed once more with a loud bang, but the smoke cleared and revealed both of them suddenly reverted from their transformed states. It turned out that they were both too exhausted to maintain their transformed forms any longer. At this moment, Dawn started to report the findings. "Your strength in transformed state should be about 20 times your normal strength. This is way more than what I am capable of. It seems that this is related to our original strength." Hearing this, both were momentarily stunned. "We didn't expect our strength to increase so much after transforming. Just now, you two pierced each other's hearts with weapons, but you are able to regenerate even though your transformations were already over. It seems your bodies have undergone changes." At this, Lanchi took the data to look at it herself. "So are we humans or monsters now?" "We are certainly humans. We have consciousness. We have living bodies, not like those mindless zombies." "Dawn, you better hurry up and research a device that can control our emotions. Now that the conference is coming, I don't want to lose my sanity and kill everyone present." So, after his visit to Country B, Zombie finally had a few days of downtime. But just as he was about to enjoy a big egg meal, Violet suddenly showed up. "The president has an urgent matter and wants to see you. Come with me now." Meanwhile, on the other side, Professor Jamie, who had been missing for several days, reappeared. At that moment, in a certain underground laboratory, Professor Jamie looked at his scientific achievements with great joy. Nearby, the ancient person was silently mixing a special metal. Seeing this, the green-haired subordinate curiously came over. "Aren't you a mecha designer? Why have you started doing biological work? You don't know anything. This is liquid metal, nanotechnology. How could I possibly make the mechs I want with those crappy metals from Earth? This liquid metal can not only move in any space, but also transform into various shapes according to your thoughts." Hearing this, the green-haired subordinate was dumbfounded. "This thing is too exaggerated. No wonder your ancient technology developed so rapidly." Although ancient technology was advanced, it wasn't omnipotent. Because technology was too advanced, everything was handled by AI, which made our generation live like overgrown babies. However, even after we reached the pinnacle of technology, we could never defeat him. Is Zombie really that terrifying? How did you guys even make him? Hearing this, the ancient person had an ominous look. Zombie is not a product of our era. According to our research at the time, Zombie might have evolved from the original humans. You can understand it this way. Zombie has lived on Earth for much longer than we can imagine. Are you saying there were other civilizations before yours? Of course. Let me educate you about our history. Actually, in ancient times, we all started from the earliest agricultural civilizations. But then, one day, a zombie outbreak occurred, and a farmer turned into a zombie. As time went on, like you, fought those zombies with the most basic weapons. But later, we took a different path. You chose to develop your physical combat limits, while we continually researched technological innovations. After thousands of years of development, our technology finally made a qualitative leap. However, during the rapid development of technology, we suddenly discovered an earth-shattering secret. The reason reason people turn into zombies is because the virus has always been hidden in human genes. So, it's not external factors that turn people into zombies, but rather, zombies have existed since ancient times. And most importantly, that zombie called zombie has lived through who knows how many civilizations. Based on our speculation at the time, zombie might have evolved from the earliest humans, which is why his strength is so incredibly great. Later, we discovered in human genes that human civilization has lasted for at least 6 generations or more, and it's possible that these civilizations were all destroyed by zombie. So zombie is much more ancient than we think. Actually, at the time, we thought the same as you. Fearing that zombie would destroy civilization, we crazily advanced our technology. But even after pushing technology to its limits, it ultimately was destroyed by him. So, in the final moments of our civilization, we buried fertilized human embryos underground, hoping that future humans could have a chance to deal with him. Are you saying that our generation is all synthesized from fertilized eggs? Hearing this, the green-haired subordinate was speechless. Actually, we also cultivated hundreds of men and women back then, letting them freely reproduce. Moreover, it's been thousands of years since then, and the genes have already changed. Otherwise, we wouldn't have geniuses with high intelligence like you. Alright, I don't want to hear any more of this nonsense. Come take a look at my research. As he spoke, he displayed his research results in front of them. At this, the green-haired subordinate couldn't help but remark, "Is this our clone zombie? Looks a bit underwhelming. There's no helping it. We're short on time. This is all I could make with zombies' genes. I haven't endowed it with consciousness yet." Hearing this, the ancient person quickly took out some nanometal. "Just inject this into him, and we'll have a mechanical version of zombie. This experimental body now possesses the strongest metal in the universe, coupled with an undying body made from zombies' genes. Then it's almost no different from the real zombie. Although we've replicated a zombie that looks exactly like the original, have you considered that zombies' greatest ideal is to coexist peacefully with humans? What if the one we create shares the same thoughts as zombie, and the first thing he does upon waking up is to wipe us out? This consciousness can't just be given out lightly. Since we can't give it zombie's current consciousness, how about we endow it with the mentality of the zombie from our era? Did you know the psyche of zombie from your time? What if he decides to work with the present zombie? Don't worry, although I don't know what zombie was thinking back then. At that time, he was notorious for slaughtering humans on sight." Hearing this, the green-haired subordinate felt a chill down his spine. Who cares? It's already made, so let's just give it a try. The scene shifts to a bay in H City where a number of aircraft carriers were docked. Zombie, looking at the scenery before him, suddenly paused. "Violet, why did you bring me here? Didn't you say the president wanted to see me?" However, before he could finish, he saw an aircraft carrier suddenly stop in front of him. The president aboard the carrier shouted to Zombie, "Chief Zombie, you finally made it," and gave Zombie a big hug. "Thank you for saving me last time. Without you, our country A would have been in danger. To express my gratitude, I've prepared a special gift for you. If needed, Violet and Lanchi are also at your disposal to choose from, but I think you might like this more." The president pointed ahead. "I want to give you a naval fleet. How about that? Are you happy? Here are 4 aircraft carriers and more than 60 other warships. From now on, half of country A's population will be under your protection." Hearing this, Zombie was amazed at what was presented to him. Violet wore a jealous look on her face. "What's with that expression? You should know that apart from the department head, no other academy president has ever had control over naval forces." The Navy aboard the aircraft carrier shouted in unison to Zombie, "Greetings, Chief Zombie," and a celebration soon erupted for Zombie's promotion. Meanwhile, the rebel boss of Country B was actually planning to join forces with the Blood Queen. Their first plan was to use the exchange meeting to stir up conflict. The boss, piloting a warship, addressed the Blood Queen. "I didn't invite you here to be disrespected. Mind your status." However, before she could finish, the Blood Queen behind her scoffed disdainfully. "Don't get worked up, my queen. We can discuss things amicably. So why have you asked us to come here? In a few days, there will be an exchange meeting between Country A and Country B, where they will compete at sea, and your task is to sneak into enemy lines and make them fire at each other." "Of course we can." Lanling nervously smiled with greed. "How much can you offer?" 3,000 tons of gold. Hearing this number, Lanling's eyes lit up with excitement. However, the Blood Queen remained unimpressed. Seeing this, Lanling quickly tried to persuade her. "My queen, I know you disdain such mundane things, but we borrowed at a high interest rate of 40% from Blackie. It would take a millennia to repay that through regular work." Hearing this, the Blood Queen walked towards the boss. Ah Shao stepped between the Blood Queen and the boss. "What do you want? Stay 5 meters away from our boss. Are you afraid I might eat your leader?" The Blood Queen scoffed. Just as Ah Shao wanted to say something else, the boss behind him spoke up. "Let her come." The Blood Queen approached the boss. "Listen, I don't care what you want to do, but in this world, there's only one person I can't beat. Everyone else is no match for me. If you want me to do something for you, the price will be charged separately." "No problem. As long as you can successfully get them to fight each other, then it's a deal." Meanwhile, on the other side, Country A and Country B are preparing for this exchange meeting. Inside a TV studio, 2 hosts excitedly start the broadcast. "Hello, viewers. We will be broadcasting this exchange meeting live. Since the emergence of zombies, we have greatly developed technology technology and military strength. Despite being separated by the sea, we are still one race, which is why we organize this exchange every 4 years. We have chosen an unclaimed island at sea as the venue for this exchange. Given the importance of this exchange meeting, our studio and field reporters will maintain a 24-hour live broadcast to provide commentary. Currently, all participants from both countries have arrived at the island for the exchange meeting, since the official events start tomorrow. Today we have organized a volleyball match to entertain everyone. As the hosts conclude their opening remarks, the area erupts with enthusiastic applause and cheers. At that moment, Lanchi sighs disdainfully. Though it's just an exhibition match, the twin sisters from Country B are taking it very seriously, determined to win. Seeing the beauties at the beach, Zombie could not help but contemplate. Violet got her legs back. The former chief approached. It seems the Biological Society did a good job with Violet's prosthetic limbs. As the referee blows the whistle to start, Lanchi serves the ball. She tosses the volleyball into the air, and immediately, Violet jumps up high to spike the ball. Accompanied by a loud bang, the 40 kilograms volleyball swiftly heads toward the twin sisters. Due to its speed, they could just barely react to save the ball. Seeing such aggression from the other team, the sisters decided to match the intensity and started to power up for a counterattack. The friendly exhibition match became an intense death match. But then, Zombie was just enjoying the show from the sidelines when he unexpectedly got hit. Just then, two new figures arrived from the Country B fleet at the event. Zombie, who was in the audience, kept getting hit by stray volleyballs. The twin sisters and Lanchi were constantly bickering, leaving the referee speechless. It's always like this. If they start fighting, the exchange might have to start early. Just then, a white-haired girl took off her sunglasses. Butterfly, be careful not to let him spot you. It turns out the tattooed lady had been secretly observing Zombie. Suddenly hearing this, the tattooed lady quickly turned around. Don't worry, our encounters with him were centuries ago. He couldn't possibly remember me. Look at him. In his first form he's an idiot, but I can't understand why he becomes so powerful when he transforms. We've been undercover in Country B for so long. I never expected to run into him here, and it's my first time seeing him in person. Now is not the time to reveal ourselves. The painful memories still linger to this day. The despair he brought us, that suffocating fear and oppression, especially the pain of being far from home, I still can't forget it. Although it's been a long time, thinking about it still hurts. Hearing this, the burly man immediately clenched his fists, but the tattooed lady stopped him. Calm down. We're not here to challenge him one-on-one. Rash actions will only alert him. She turned to the white-haired girl and instructed, you keep a close watch on Zombie here. But remember, our main goal now is to find out his true strength. Don't act against him without certain assurance. The scene shifts back to Professor Jamie's laboratory. The ancient person was holding a data report, finally finished. Though it seems like engineering is still where my expertise is. I'm a bit curious. What exactly was human civilization like? The ones that existed before you? I'm not too clear myself. Where my civilization left legacies and artifacts for you, the previous ones did not leave us with anything. We had to start from the ground up. Days passed uneventfully like this. At this time, several aircraft carriers were cruising on the water. Above these aircraft carriers, there were helicopters following along. The host inside the helicopter spoke to the camera. Dear viewers, the exchange meeting between the two countries is about to start. I will be broadcasting the entire event live for you. At this moment, inside the control room of the aircraft carrier, a zombie stepped forward calling out to the ship commander. The commander then turned around and revealed himself to be Zombie fixing his tie. The fleet formed by Zombie officially set sail. Just a few months ago, when Zombie took over the aircraft carrier fleet, he immediately replaced all the Navy personnel with his own zombie subordinates. After a period of training, the zombies proficiently mastered various skills. They not only operated fighter jets for ground support, but even handling aircraft carriers was no problem for them. Country B's people would have never imagined that the weapons they developed to fight zombies would now have zombies operating them. Inside the command room of the aircraft carrier, Violet was seen staring blankly ahead. At this moment, a zombie stepped forward. Academy President Violet, here is your appointment letter. You have been assigned to our fleet by request of Chief Zombie. The zombie presented Violet's appointment letter and even new attire. Meanwhile, the situation with Lanchi was similar. She was also assigned to one of Zombie's warships. A zombie holding a uniform approached her. Academy President Lanchi, this is your military uniform. But Lanchi only scoffed, commenting that Academy Presidents are not required to have a uniform. Thus, the warships led by Zombie took the lead. At this time, a reporter in the helicopter spoke to the camera. We have turned off all satellite communications and navigation systems for the fleets. This is to test the cooperation and adaptability of the Academy Presidents. The teams participating in this exchange include Zombie's 2nd Naval Fleet of Country A, Department Head Chen's 1st Naval Fleet of Country A, and finally, the Explosive Sausage's 3rd Fleet of Country A. These are all the teams from Country A participating in the event. Next up is Country B's 1st Fleet led by the twin sisters, the 2nd Navy Fleet formed by General Xinhua, and finally, the 3rd Navy Fleet led by General Hu. This exchange meeting can truly be described as a gathering of heroes. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, all fleets have declined interviews on the grounds of protecting military secrets. Fortunately, the captain of Country A's second fleet is quite amiable. Captain, which fleet do you think has a greater advantage? I think everyone would be better off staying peaceful, so we can finish up and go home to eat. Hearing this, the audience ridiculed. Zombie is such a fool. To avoid embarrassment, the reporter then interviewed Violet. What do you think are the strengths of your fleet, and how confident are you about this competition? Violet was dismissive. As long as our captain doesn't sink the aircraft carrier, we'll be fine. Beside her, Lanchi also expressed nervously, I have a bad feeling about this. Meanwhile, at Country B's first fleet, what's the point in capturing islands? The last zombie killing contest was much more straightforward. The third fleet seems to have two newcomers who, I heard, had been working hard for a long time and were only recently promoted exceptionally. It's curious what's so special about them. Just then, the big bearded man on the third fleet suddenly sniffed the air. Butterfly, seeing this, quickly asked, Taishan, what's the matter? Nothing much, just that a troublesome fellow has come aboard. This troublesome person was none other than the Blood Queen, who had come to stir up trouble. The scene shifts back to the exchange match, where the tense atmosphere and fierce competition continued unabated. The second fleet of Country B was nearing the island when they suddenly opened fire on the explosive sausage fleet of Country A. This action caused the people on board to panic, but then they realized that it was only paint. Still, this was considered losing a destroyer that gave Country A -3 points. The department head saw the situation with the stainless steel chief by his side. Why are they not fighting back? They are still too far. The reporters were covering all of this in real time. Besides capturing the island, scoring the most points is also a condition for winning. Hearing this, the civilians watching the broadcast all went wild with excitement. I want you to fire everything we have. Then the explosive sausage commander commanded the ship to turn right. Just then, multiple shots were missing into the water. As this was happening, the green-haired subordinate was looking on the water with binoculars. What's going on? It's the human army? The two fleets were battling each other intensely, even shouting insults and threats to one another. The stainless steel chief looked to the department head. Should we go help? What are you panicking about? We won't go over there. The first to land gets 40 points. We can sneak past them while they fight each other. It's called stealing the chicken. To this, the stainless steel chief was surprised at the sneaky tactic of the department head. The green-haired subordinate was frozen, looking onto the battlefield of the water. We're almost out of ammunition. If you want to catch the thief, catch their leader. The explosive sausage commander suddenly jumped out the window, flipping in the sky. The enemy commander saw this and was confused at the unidentified flying object. Then suddenly, the explosive sausage commander ripped all of his clothes by flexing, revealing his muscular bare body. Feel the essence of sausage muscle body. The enemy fleet was horrified, while the other onlookers felt like their eyeballs have been violated. From the reporters to the other fleet and all of the audience, the enemy commander angrily struck a pose, and then herself jumped out to meet the explosive sausage commander. You damn pervert. The enemy commander landed a stiff kick at the explosive sausage commander's face as he was still posing. The audience became alive once more at the action. Meanwhile, the first fleet of Country B noticed the first fleet of Country A's movements. They are planning to steal the chicken. I'll send over people to stop them. Both of the second in commands had the same idea, but the commanders knew it was too late. Thus, the Country B first fleet charged full speed ahead. Just then, the green-haired subordinate had burst into a room. Human armies are headed out direction. It was Professor Jamie who he was reporting to. Professor Jamie went to the window to confirm it and saw the two first fleets coming straight towards the island. The two control rooms were fired up and trying to race each other. You think you can race boats with me? You think we'd lose to a boat race? Professor Jamie cursed loudly. Then the green-haired subordinate asked if their location was exposed. That's impossible. This is an unclaimed island with no value whatsoever. The scene shifts to a few months ago. The Prime Minister of Country B and the President of Country A were conversing with T. Where should we hold the exchange meet this time? I don't want it in Country A, with all the mess you made last time. If that's the case, I don't want it in Country B as well. Let's choose this place, an ownerless island. Whoever wins this time will get to own it. Going back to the present with the furious Professor Jamie. Are you done? The ancient person looked like a mummy with how hard he was working. I need a bit more time with the programming. There's also an arm that still needs to be installed. The subject of this work would be the yet-to-be activated zombie clone. The broadcaster then started to introduce the second fleet of Country B's arrival to the area. There's going to be a great show now, but at that moment, he realized that Country A's second fleet was nowhere to be found. Somewhere in an unknown frozen region, Violet was shivering. Why the hell did you bring us here? We were about to hit an iceberg. Lanchi was furious at the first mate's answer. Zombie could not say anything as he was completely lost. Just then, they hit an iceberg. Lanchi looked out of the ship. I can see penguins. Where did you take us? Zombie was even more shocked. Zombie's second fleet of Country A was all the way on the other side of the planet, right next to the South Pole. Lanchi and Violet started barking questions at Zombie, to which he was just dumbfounded. We can't even use satellite mapping to find where we are. Zombie spoke through the intercom. Why don't we just forfeit from the competition? But Violet was incredulous to this. Meanwhile, back at the competition, the fierce battle between between the commanders was still ongoing. The enemy commander had still not recovered from her attack when the explosive sausage commander posed one more time right in front of her. Seeing what was in front of her, she was horrified once more. Professor Jamie was still looking on at the two ships heading into the island. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems that the two countries' fleets are now making a beeline for the island. Professor Jamie was furious at the situation. Stop programming and help us. Don't you still have a lot of zombie specimens? Look through the trash for nanomaterial. You can probably make use of it. As he was saying that, the green-haired subordinate complied. I found it. Professor Jamie quickly swiped it from his hands. He entered a room full of incomplete zombies. You damnable human army, trying to play me a fool, but I am not the prey here. Meanwhile, on a different ship with the Blood Queen, Lan Ling was looking onto the battlefield. They've begun fighting. This is our chance, my queen. Open fire. With a loud bang, a shell was shot from the warship. This loud noise was noticed by the three individuals with unknown origins. Taishan raised his arm. At the same time, a large rock formation was raised from the sea, blocking the fire artillery shell from hitting. A real artillery shell? Those country A bastards want to play for real. Change the ammunition. Open fire with real shells. However, the Blood Queen and Lan Ling were dumbfounded. Queen, there seems to be someone powerful on that ship. Taishan walked over to the commander. Drive the ship over there. The commander was furious. I am the highest commander here. You follow what I say. But before he could finish, Taishan grabbed the commander's face with his large hands and lifted him up. Taishan gripped strongly on the commander's head, which made the commander very weak. How are you so strong? Who are you people? Just then, Lan Ling started to panic. Your Majesty, we're about to is the other boat. We can't let them find out that we are not from Country A's fleet. Simultaneously, the Blood Queen and the tattooed woman ordered to ram each other's boat to bits. The two boats were at full speed towards each other. The broadcaster was excited at this event, calling it a kiss on the vast ocean. Meanwhile, Zombie and his first mate were just fishing on an iceberg. Panic started to ensue on both sides, and before the two ships hit, the Blood Queen and Taishan suddenly charged towards each other as well. But it was the Blood Queen who landed the first blow with a strong kick, knocking Taishan up high. But it took no time for Taishan to recover, and he landed strongly on the Blood Queen's boat, tipping it forwards with his strength. Who the hell is this guy? Lan Ling was panicked as he was stuck to the floor due to the force of the ship going upward. The Blood Queen charged her hand with a swirling energy, then a whirlpool manifested between the two boats. But as she was doing that, Taishan conjured multiple rock formations from under the water. The Blood Queen was cautious as Taishan clapped his hands together. Then suddenly the rock formations revealed a large stone arm, reaching for the Blood Queen, ultimately restraining her in the sharp rocks. The broadcaster was amazed by the display of power, while the audience could only say, wow at the scene. But just then, the broadcaster started to check for the names of the combatants. Taishan was listed, but there was no record of the Blood Queen for Country A. Meanwhile, the race was still ongoing when the former chief reported, there's something on the island. To this, the department head looked with his binoculars and was stunned. Multiple large zombies were roaming around the island. Come at me, you muscleheads. Professor Jamie was finally ready for battle, while Zombie finally caught a fish. Seeing the large zombies, the stainless steel chief was dumbfounded. Don't tell me this is still part of the exchange meet. The department head ordered the chief to turn the ship around, which was shocking to him. But just then, a large zombie lifted a huge rock and threw it down on the Country B warship with a loud bang. The chiefs of Country A were shocked. Their ship exploded. The reporter was also baffled. What's happening? Why did Country B's warship explode? You dare to attack me with this bunch of fools? Go to hell. Realizing what was happening, the department head quickly shouted, counterattack. The leaders of both countries wouldn't damage their own equipment. There's enemy activity on the island. Meanwhile, Zombie looked around. Where are Violet and Lanchi? It turns out they didn't want to lose the match, so they had secretly sailed the ship back. Damn it. Just when I gained great power and was thinking of avenging past humiliations, that idiot Zombie took us to Antarctica. Violet was teary-eyed while she ranted. Captain, we won't make it without the flagship. Shut up. Can't you figure something out? Even if you have to row by hand, get us back. Thus, the aircraft carrier has now turned into a human-powered boat, slowly being rowed northward by the zombies' efforts. The scene shifts back to Professor Jamie's side, where the ancient person excitedly shouts, success. I've done it. Hearing this, the green-haired subordinate hurriedly approached. Just don't let it wake up here. Don't worry, I've already dumped it and the equipment into the ocean. Meanwhile, in a bay in Country B, Ah Xiao and Agui were on patrol. I wonder how that outsourced job is going. Don't worry, they're probably fighting by now. As they were talking, a rectangular mechanical pod washed up onto the beach. Seeing this, Ah Xiao and Agui were stunned. What is that thing? However, before they could think further, a mechanical hand tore the metal door open, revealing a menacingly glowing red eye. A mechanical zombie emerged from the pod. It was the ferocious version of zombie that Professor Jamie had recreated using mechanical zombies' genes. Feeling the presence of the other, Ah Xiao and Agui were trembling in fear. Just then, the mechanical zombie seemed to have noticed them and quickly walked towards them. At this moment, the ancient person monitoring from the island excitedly shouted, go on, let them see your great power. But just when Ah Xiao and Agui thought they were doomed, mechanical zombie suddenly embraced them. I'm so happy to see you're you're still alive. This action stunned Ah Xiao. Professor Jamie and the ancient person on the island were petrified. Mechanical Zombie then clung to Ah Xiao's leg, crying, "I've finally found living kin. I don't have to live alone anymore." Professor Jamie, infuriated, stomped his foot. "You failed. Don't get so worked up. There must be some kind of error somewhere." Mechanical Zombie held Ah Xiao's hand. "Hello, my name is Zombie. I'm glad to see you're still alive, so I won't have to spend time reviving you." Agui stepped forward. "I just scanned it with the enhanced consciousness device, and it definitely is a zombie. That's weird. Why doesn't it look like us? And it seems much more advanced. It doesn't matter how I look. Sometimes I don't even know what I'll turn into myself." Just then, the masked zombie shouted from a distance, "Stop chatting. You too. The boss's outsourcing plan worked. We need to get out of here quickly." Ah Xiao waved to Mechanical Zombie and advised him, "Alright, we have to go now. This isn't our turf, so don't go wandering around." Then he and Agui left the bay by plane. Watching the plane in the sky, Mechanical Zombie was in a good mood. However, when he entered the city, he suddenly became angry. "Humans," saying this with disdain and malice, he fiercely punched the ground. Instantly, his punch split the city in two. Countless humans were thrown into the air. Seeing this, Ah Xiao and Agui were dumbfounded, as the city was literally lifted into the air by Mechanical Zombie. Seeing this, the three scientists were all speechless. Mechanical Zombie lifted himself up as the debris rained behind him. Meanwhile, as Lanchi's and Violet's ships were on their way to the competition, they noticed something in the distance. A cityscape was turned on its side. This shocked both Lanchi and Violet. The scene shifts back to the competition, where the Blood Queen is held restrained by the rocks. "In this world, the only worthy opponent for me is Zombie. Just who are you?" Butterfly smirked. "Take a guess." But the Blood Queen was scornful. "You think you can restrain me with this ability?" And suddenly, she freed herself from the rocks with sheer force. "She's stronger than I imagined. Who are you all, anyway?" The Blood Queen walked up to the strangers. Butterfly wanted to order Taishan to attack, but was stopped. "Now is not the time to compete over who is more powerful. We don't have intentions to fight you. We just want to talk to your master." The Blood Queen sneered. "What are you talking about? Vampires no longer exist in this time period. Could it be you are the only vampire left behind from that time? Based on the timeline, she should have disappeared long ago. Even if her master used a cultivation chamber, she shouldn't have this much power. The person over there speaking seems to know of me. She possesses a genetic factor that grants her immortality. We are from an ancient civilization. Our purpose in coming here is to investigate Zombie's true strength. Please tell us where your creator and master is now." "You keep talking nonsense. I don't mingle nicely with humans, but the burly man over there has ignited my fighting spirit." Butterfly was taken aback at the Blood Queen's response. Then Taishan put himself in between her and the Blood Queen. But just then, all of them sensed something odd. And just then, they saw the city that was turned over. "What is that?" Just then, the broadcasters were reporting the happenings on the ship, but they also witnessed the overturned city. Mechanical Zombie was not finished. He jumped high in the sky like an arrow. Meanwhile, the plane of Country B's rebel forces were busy maneuvering through the city. Everyone was panicking inside. But at that moment, Ah Xiao and Agui noticed a figure flying up into the sky. Upon stabilizing, Mechanical Zombie entered his second form. With a buildup of power, the next second, the city below was shattered into pieces under his strike. The boss, still on the plane, was instantly shocked. However, before they could ponder further, Mechanical Zombie suddenly pulled at the air, creating a massive gust that dragged them towards the ground, causing them to nearly crash. In panic, Ah Xiao and the others hurriedly jumped out of the plane. The subordinates were scrambling trying to protect their boss. The heavy winds were actually forming a ball of energy. From kilometers away, Violet and Lanchi witnessed the events, when suddenly a blinding ball of energy erupted. As the dust slowly settled, the area around Mechanical Zombie had turned to ashes. Such a terrifying explosion also drew the attention of those at the exchange meet. At that moment, the burly man spoke up. "It's Zombie. I sensed his presence. That strike just now flattened Guadalcanal, and at least 30 million humans were wiped out." Simultaneously, the television hastily interrupted with a news flash. "The largest landmass island on Earth and Country B mysteriously disappeared 20 minutes ago." Hearing this, everyone was in disbelief. What happened? The scene returns to Guadalcanal, where the boss, protected by the masked zombie, had narrowly escaped with her life. When they saw the scene before them, they were also startled. "What's going on here?" Ah Xiao saw Mechanical Zombie in the middle of the crater. "What are you doing? Humans deserve to die." Hearing this, Ah Xiao was petrified on the spot. "It's strange. I feel like there is still one human who hasn't died." Mechanical Zombie sniffed the air. Seeing this, the masked zombie quickly covered the boss's mouth, and Ah Xiao also waved his hands frantically. "You must be mistaken. It's my scent you smell, because I've been around humans for a long time." However, upon hearing this, Mechanical Zombie suddenly gestured towards him. The next second, he had Ah Xiao by the throat. "You spend time with humans?" At this moment, Ah Xiao was terrified. "Aren't we brothers?" Mechanical Zombie coldly responded. "I don't like zombies that mix with humans. After killing you, I can create the kind of zombies I like." Seeing this, Agui was stunned. His personality has changed. How has he become so terrifying now? To save his life, Ah Xiao hastily declared that he would never associate with humans. In the southwest direction, there is a city with a population of 70 million. As soon as he finished speaking, Mechanical Zombie Boom took off from the spot and flew rapidly towards the southwest. After the Mechanical Zombie left, Ah Xiao still couldn't help but tremble. Just then, the broadcaster arrived in a helicopter. The boss saw the helicopter land on the other side. Our goal is to coexist with humans. We must not let him act recklessly. However, Ah Xiao retorted, Boss, are you joking? With our little strength, how can we stop him? I reckon in less than half an hour, the humans in this world will be slaughtered clean. At this moment, the journalist who descended from the plane was also baffled. Why are there still zombies here? Upon seeing this, the boss suddenly leaped in front of the camera and shouted, Listen, a terrifying guy has appeared here, and he is slaughtering humans massively. Those who see this live stream, hurry to the shelters. There might still be a chance for survival. However, the audience, hearing this, thought it was a prank and remained unmoved. The scene switched to the center of a city in the southwest, where a girl was live streaming her dance on a hillside, instantly attracting a frenzy of donations from 100,000 viewers. I told you the exchange meeting wasn't worth watching. A beautiful woman's live stream is the real deal. However, just as the host was energetically promoting products, the mechanical zombie suddenly fell from the sky, landing with a big crash. The powerful wind immediately blew away the few people broadcasting live. What is this thing? The female host collapsed in terror. Before she could even beg for mercy, she was blown into mush by an explosive shot from the mechanical zombie. Seeing this, the hosts were stunned, thinking to themselves, could everything said in the news just now be true? However, before he could ponder further, the mechanical zombie grabbed him and slowly walked to the edge of a cliff. All these scenes were broadcast live. Suddenly, the mechanical zombie raised his hand and snapped his fingers. The next second, a terrifying dark energy condensed in his hand. This scene that was fully broadcast live via smartphone. At this moment, Blackie in H City saw this scene and was shocked, as the move used by the mechanical zombie was actually Blackie's own ability. Meanwhile, Go beside him was cautious. He is the king. At this moment, the entire world was watching this live broadcast. Just then, in the live broadcast, the mechanical zombie raised his hand, and with a loud bang, countless black substances spread throughout the entire city. Those that came into contact with the black substance would disintegrate. Soon, half of the human population in the city was reduced to ashes. At that moment, mechanical zombie clenched his hand again. Instantly, an invisible force exploded at the city center. With the rise of a mushroom cloud, this city of 30 million vanished in an instant. At this moment, humans in a city from another province were stunned. This must be fake. Someone is pulling a prank. However, only the boss who had experienced the extinction firsthand knew that everything that had just happened was real. The scene shifted back to the competition, where Taishan said to the Blood Queen, Let's pause for now. You are no match for me at this moment. Don't ask for trouble. We need to stop Zombie first, or he will kill all the humans. At that moment, Lan Ling shouted in horror as he arrived, Your Majesty, there is someone destroying human cities. It must be Zombie. What do you say? Do you want to join us? With Zombie in his current state, after he finishes off the humans, it will soon be your turn. After pondering for a moment, the Blood Queen agreed to Taishan's request. Meanwhile, an announcement came from the helicopter. Emergency notice. A terrifying monster is rampaging and slaughtering humans on the mainland of Country B. After careful consideration by the presidents of both countries, the exchange meeting is temporarily cancelled. Upon hearing this notice, Violet and Lanchi hurriedly instructed the zombies to prepare the helicopter. They wanted to meet this monster. As for the Blood Queen and her group, they had already flown to Country B ahead of schedule. At this moment, Lan Ling on the plane curiously asked, Why does Zombie hate humans so much? Because we killed his family. On the other side, after destroying the city, Mechanical Zombie swooshed back into the sky, and at that moment, the live broadcast was completely interrupted. After the official announcement that everything that had just happened was real, the people of Country B were now in a panic, and the instigators of all this, the ancient human and the green-haired subordinate, excitedly hugged each other. The green-haired subordinate curiously asked, Wasn't your goal a better future for humans? Why are you helping us now? What do you know? The ancient human scoffed. It seems it's also time to let you know my real purpose. Saying this, he started a global live broadcast. Viewers from around the world, hello, I am the ancient human you've heard about in the rumors. I will show you a clip from our era. This zombie named Zombie, he destroyed our civilization, and not just once. It is also because of him that our human development has always been abruptly interrupted. However, the most terrifying thing is that this zombie is still alive in the world today. Therefore, I have developed a creature that can compete with him, which is the mechanical zombie you are currently seeing. Upon hearing this, everyone was greatly shocked. Don't worry, everyone, I have already buried the continuation of humanity underground. Millions of years from now, we humans will still be the rulers of this planet. Anyway, the civilization collapses we experienced back then, you will inevitably experience them sooner or later. For the development of humanity, in these final moments, take the time to say goodbye to your family. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone went mad, rushing towards their homes. At this moment, Zombie in the far Antarctic seemed to sense something and looked in the direction of Country B. It turns out that just now, since the mechanical zombie's live broadcast of destroying a city, various incidents of vandalism started occurring occurring around the world, and social order completely collapsed at this moment. There were still a few who believed that the people in power would save them. Just then, the Blood Queen and her group finally arrived at the scene, along with Violet and Lanchi. The mechanical zombie was surrounded by Country B, who had dispatched thousands of generals to subdue him. However, when they arrived at the scene, they were terrified by what they saw, for the thousands of superhumans had already perished at the hands of the mechanical zombie. Suddenly, dozens of armed helicopters flew overhead. It turned out that all the major generals of Country B had arrived here. At this moment, the people watching the live broadcast outside were excited. Great! With so many generals going into battle, we finally don't have to hide anymore. However, the Blood Queen and her group at the scene didn't think so. This was simply because this zombie they encountered now was completely different from before. Just then, the mechanical zombie suddenly whipped up a whirlwind in the center of the area, and those who were slightly weaker were immediately blown away. When the storm in the center gradually subsided, the mechanical zombie had transformed into his third form. He's just bluffing. Let's go together. And all the major generals of Country B charged towards the mechanical zombie. As one of them was about to reach mechanical zombie, he suddenly turned his head and glanced at him. The next second, the space around that person began to shatter, and with a squish, that major general was killed on the spot. Those who followed closely behind also met the same fate. Before long, all the major generals of Country B were annihilated. At this moment, the people watching the live broadcast outside were stunned. The Blood Queen suddenly shouted loudly, "Run! We are no match for him." But just as she finished speaking, her chest was mysteriously pierced. Violet next to her was also attacked by mechanical zombie. Fortunately, Violet quickly transformed, broke through the space, and drew her long sword, preparing for a desperate fight. However, as soon as she charged close to mechanical zombie, she was punched by him, shattering her transformation and sending her flying back severely injured. Seeing this, Lanchi also hurriedly transformed and attacked mechanical zombie, but the result was the same. They couldn't get close and were blown away by the force of the impact. Lanchi was reverted to her original form by mechanical zombie. At this moment, Blackie and H City also exclaimed in surprise, "How come this guy's aura is exactly like the king's? It's the king's fourth form. Now that the king is not here, Blackie, you make a decision. Should we stop him?" Blackie replied helplessly, "If he really is the king, then we should follow his decision. After all, destroying civilization is not new to us." But then, Lang stood up in opposition. "We disagree. Take a closer look. Does that guy look like our king? He's nothing more than someone who took the king's genes and changed his skin. Do you know how much effort our king has put into achieving peaceful coexistence with humans? Our king is nothing like this iron skin monster." The scene shifts back to mechanical zombie. At this moment, no one present could withstand even one of his moves. "This is boring. I even switched forms to play with you. I didn't expect you to be so weak. Even in my first form I could easily crush you. What a bore. Alright, the game ends here. Once I've killed all the humans, I'll come back to play with you." Saying this, mechanical zombie flew off toward another city. At this moment, zombie in the far Antarctic also sensed something, but the next second, he leisurely started fishing again. Just like that, under mechanical zombie's frenzied slaughter, in 30 minutes, thousands of cities were destroyed, and his next target was H City, which zombie had founded himself. "You want the destruction of the king's city?" Lang tried to convince the others. "If you won't go, me and Fur will." But as soon as mechanical zombie arrived here, he witnessed Fur of the ancient bloodline. At this moment, Lang hurried forward. "Your Majesty, this is your city. Have you forgotten? Who are you? I don't recognize you. As a zombie mixing with humans, you might as well be destroyed together." Mechanical zombie coldly responded. Hearing this, Lang was momentarily stunned. "Since you are not the king, then we won't be polite." Saying this, Lang flashed in front of mechanical zombie. However, with just a roar from mechanical zombie, Lang was blown away. Just then, a loud boom came from a tall building nearby. It was our protagonist, Zombie, who had finally returned. Seeing this, mechanical zombie instantly became interested. At this moment, Zombie came to Lang and said, "Don't worry, I'm here. Go evacuate the humans in the city. Leave this place to me." However, mechanical zombie sensed the presence of the original, so he ordered Blackie, "Blackie, I know you're here. Go kill everyone here." Hearing this, Blackie was stunned. How come there are two kings all of a sudden? At that moment, Go reminded him, "Blackie, our lives are in your hands now." Seeing that Blackie did not react, it was Zombie that shouted again, "Hurry and evacuate the people." Feeling this familiar oppressive presence, Blackie immediately understood. That's right, he is the real king. "Come with me to evacuate the humans in the city." Seeing this, mechanical zombie instantly became furious and swiftly dashed toward the human shelter. But with a boom, everyone found themselves unharmed. It turned out that at the critical moment, Zombie had stood in front of them. Just then, Zombie grabbed mechanical zombie's face, smashing mechanical zombie into the ground, then kicked it fiercely, sending it flying, crashing through a building and out on the other side. Before mechanical zombie could land, Zombie flashed in front of it again. In his second form, he bang punched mechanical zombie again. Seeing this, everyone was astonished. It turns out that punch from Zombie had sent mechanical zombie flying into outer space. However, the beaten mechanical zombie was not only not angry, but actually excited. "Nice. It feels like I'm fighting myself." Meanwhile, Meanwhile, on Blackie's side, they were evacuating the humans from H City. But just then, someone pointed at Zombie and shouted, "Isn't he the bodyguard of the president of country A? And also the captain of the second ship at this exchange meeting?" Hearing this, a reporter on the helicopter immediately reported live, "Dear viewers, at this moment, a hero from country A is dueling with that monster." This remark shocked Blackie. "Global broadcast? Aren't we exposing that we are zombies?" Just then, Mechanical Zombie in outer space suddenly started descending rapidly. Seeing this, Zombie also hurriedly sprinted, and before Mechanical Zombie even landed, Zombie had already flashed behind it. Zombie and Mechanical Zombie each threw a punch. Instantly, both were blown away by the other's fist. After separating, the two gathered strength again. Without any fancy moves, they threw another punch at each other. With a boom, the entire H city was instantly blasted with great pressure. The worst off was Varmint, just being blown away with the wind. Fortunately, humans had already evacuated in time and were not harmed. On the other side, the stainless steel chief was with the department head. "Now that Zombie is fighting that monster, what should we do now?" The department head pointed at the island and shouted, "There's something wrong with that island. Take it down." However, at this moment, the ancient humans and the green-haired subordinate on the island were still unaware. Viewers watching the live broadcast suddenly shouted, "I remember this person. He really was the bodyguard next to the president back then. But why has he changed his appearance now?" It turns out, to defeat Mechanical Zombie, Zombie had transformed into his third form. In front of him was Mechanical Zombie with a hole blown away from his torso. The people watching the live broadcast cheered. "No matter who he is, as long as he helps us fight the monster, he is a hero to us all." Zombie then addressed Mechanical Zombie. "You said you were just like me, but you are far too inexperienced." Just then, Mechanical Zombie suddenly fired a nuclear missile at him. Zombie merely raised his hand and redirected the nuclear missile away. Accompanied by a boom, an island nation was instantly leveled. At this moment, people were stunned. He swatted away a nuclear missile with his hand. Is this even something a human can do? However, Zombie remained calm in the face of this. Just then, Mechanical Zombie suddenly transformed into his next form and quickly flickered in the air, appearing right in front of Zombie. With the power of its next form, Mechanical Zombie seemed to be on par with Zombie. Suddenly, as Mechanical Zombie threw a punch, it extended a finger. Seeing this, Zombie was momentarily stunned. It transformed once more into its fourth form. However, before he could react, energy began to gather on Mechanical Zombie's hand. The next second, half of Zombie's body was blown apart by this energy. Meanwhile, the ancient human and the green-haired subordinate on the island excitedly shouted, "Before his head can regrow, make him disappear into thin air." No sooner had they spoken than a terrifying ray shot out from Mechanical Zombie's arm. As the dust slowly cleared, Zombie had been blasted into nothingness by this horrific ray. His body has been vaporized. The refugees were terrified. "We did it. Let him show off. Now he can't transform into a new form in time," the ancient humans said proudly. At this moment, a green cell in the air suddenly began to divide. Through continuous division and fusion, the genes began to slowly reassemble. Shortly thereafter, a skeleton materialized out of thin air. "What's going on?" As he was surprised, Zombie's flesh and blood regrew. "What the heck is this?" The onlookers were dumbfounded too. Is he really still human? Just like that, after being blown to bits, Zombie revived once again and even transformed into his fourth form. The viewers of the live broadcast immediately recognized, "Isn't this person's face that of the zombie the ancient humans talked about?" Upon hearing this news, everyone was shocked, especially since the ancient humans had said that it was he who destroyed the last civilization. "It's over! It's over! Both sides are monsters. Why is the fate of us humans so tragic?" On the other side, upon learning that Zombie had been exposed, Violet and Lanchi prepared to head to the small island to capture Professor Jamie. The scene switches back to Zombie. Enraged, Zombie, without any superfluous words, flashed in front of Mechanical Zombie, and before Mechanical Zombie could react, Zombie landed a punch on him. Instantly, endless firelight erupted between them, and Mechanical Zombie was blasted into the sky. In an instant, Mechanical Zombie grazed past the moon and then directly pierced through Mars and finally came to a stop after crashing into the massive Saturn, even shifting Saturn's orbit due to the impact. At this moment, people were dumbfounded. Just then, Zombie on Earth exerted his power and flew to Saturn. Upon seeing Mechanical Zombie, Zombie swung another fierce punch, crashing onto the face of the planet. Mechanical Zombie finally came to his senses and hastily tried escaping towards the outskirts of Saturn. Seeing this, Zombie immediately circled to the opposite direction, but when he encountered Mechanical Zombie again, he found that it was just an afterimage. This move left Zombie stunned. Where did this guy suddenly run off to? At this moment, Mechanical Zombie had already returned to Earth, but before he could catch his breath, Zombie was already on his tail. Knowing hiding was futile, Mechanical Zombie suddenly threw a punch towards the ground. The next second, the generals who had been crushed into mush instantly came back. Although their condition was somewhat different, rather than being resurrected, it was more like they had been refined into puppets by Mechanical Zombie. Zombie on the other side suddenly waved his hand. The next second, the remaining cells in the air began to divide. Before long, the previously killed residents turned into zombies. At this moment, the reporter was beyond shocked. Completely stupefied. Looking at the dense army of zombies, people couldn't help but scream. Seeing this, people were dumbfounded. How did my many aunts and uncles become zombies? However, Zombie's next action left Violet and Lan Chi utterly incredulous. He simply raised his hand and waved at the zombie army. In the next second, all the ordinary zombies instantly entered their second form. This move left Lan Chi and Violet speechless. We worked hard for our second form, and these zombies got it just like that. Just then, Zombie suddenly raised his hand and pointed, and immediately countless figures fell from the sky. In just a few moments, the generals summoned by Mechanical Zombie were all torn apart by the zombie army. Seeing his trick foiled, Mechanical Zombie scornfully taunted, "Is that all?" Saying this, he rushed forward and exchanged a punch with Zombie. Instantly, the impact force blasted the whole city. Violet and Lan Chi knew that if they continued to fight like this, civilization might get destroyed again. So, they immediately took a plane to the suspicious island they had visited before. Professor Jamie, noticing the anomaly, urgently shouted, "Are you still watching the show? The human army is about to land on the island." Hearing this, the ancient human was momentarily stunned. "I said retreat." It turns out, the department head, leading various presidents, had already arrived on the island first. Seeing this, Professor Jamie hurriedly burned all the research materials, then prepared to escape the island on a helicopter. But when the pilot was ready to take off, he found that the plane wouldn't budge. It turns out, just as they were preparing to take off, Lan Chi hurried over and grabbed the helicopter's wheels. This action prevented the helicopter from taking flight. "Weren't you fighting on the front lines? How did you end up here?" Professor Jamie exclaimed. However, before he could finish his sentence, Lan Chi violently threw the helicopter away. Just like that, Professor Jamie and his two companions were captured again. At that moment, Violet grabbed an ancient human and demanded, "Tell me quickly, how can we stop Mechanical Zombie? If we don't get them to stop soon, the civilization of this world will be destroyed once again." But no matter how Violet pressed him, the ancient human refused to reveal the method. Lan Chi suddenly spoke up, "Maybe I have a way to make him talk." Saying this, she walked up to the ancient human, waved her hand, and a strand of the zombie virus instantly invaded the ancient human's body. It didn't take long for Lan Chi to completely control the ancient human's brain. "Can you end this battle?" "There is. Inside the box is a button that will make the nanomaterial in Mechanical Zombie's blood disappear. Without it, he cannot hold his form." Violet understood and took the device. As the fierce battle was ongoing, Violet pushed the button, but to their surprise, nothing happened. "My nanomechanics were all designed perfectly. This cannot be." Just then, a surge of energy was released by Mechanical Zombie, blasting the surrounding with immense pressure. But Zombie remained unfazed. As the dust settled, it revealed a new form. It was Mechanical Zombie's fifth form. "Even without a container, I can still live." No one else could move due to the ominous aura of the new form. At that moment, Mechanical Zombie suddenly spoke. "Original Zombie, how about it? Do you want to change too?" But upon hearing this, Zombie made no movement. Instead, it was the reporter standing between them who stuttered, "How come we ended up in the middle?" Just then, the zombie army nearby suddenly erupted into chaos and rushed towards Mechanical Zombie. Mechanical Zombie merely said the word scram, and the next second, the space where the zombie army was compressed, and soon all the zombies turned to dust. At this moment, Blackie, watching from a distance, was stunned. How is this guy's aura becoming more and more like the king's? He hurriedly shouted to Zombie, "Your Majesty, stop fighting. If this continues, the entire world's civilization will be destroyed again." However, at this moment, Zombie couldn't hear Blackie's words. He slowly raised his right hand, then covered his face. Seeing this, Violet and Lan Chi were shocked, because at this moment, Zombie had once again transformed into a new appearance, Zombie's fifth form. Just then, the department head and the Stainless Steel Academy chief looked up at the sky in horror. For some reason, the previously clear sky had turned blood red. As a dazzling beam of light hit Zombie, the next second, a scarlet liquid began to spread out slowly from him. In mere moments, the entire earth was completely enveloped in blood. At this moment, a general from Country B, far out at sea, screamed in horror, "This blood! It's all blood!" Even more terrifying was that the blood started to flow towards the sun at some point. Soon, not only the sun, but also Saturn and the moon were stained red. People on Earth were dumbfounded. What exactly is going on? Even Mechanical Zombie said in surprise, "Interesting, I haven't even seen this form myself." As the surrounding dust slowly settled, the chilling aura of Zombie made everyone around take a sharp breath, especially the reporter and the white-haired girl, who were right in the center of the battlefield, suddenly fell to their knees with a thud, loudly begging for mercy. However, Zombie paid them no heed, only quietly watching Mechanical Zombie not far away. Mechanical Zombie wore a smug smile. "Can you explain why I don't have this form? If you want me to disappear, there should be a reason. The reason is simple. After destroying the previous iron-skinned human civilization, I developed this myself. Not bad, not bad. Worthy of being my original form, but I can still hold my own." Mechanical Zombie then accelerated towards Zombie. "No, you can't." But just as he was about to reach his original form, Mechanical Zombie suddenly froze. Zombie slowly raised his right hand, and an unprecedented sense of oppression instantly subdued Mechanical Zombie. Before Mechanical Zombie could react, Zombie's palm began to loom infinitely large before his his eyes. As the camera zoomed out, before long, the entire Earth seemed to be bound by some sort of law. Violet and Lanchi on the island were dumbfounded. What exactly is going on? It turns out, at this moment, the immensely vast Earth was already grasped in Zombie's hand. As for those humans still on Earth, they suddenly felt their bodies twisted together. But before they could cry out for help, Zombie's right hand suddenly tightened its grip. With a resounding crash, the entire world instantly quieted. However, as everyone regained their senses, they realized that what had just happened seemed like an illusion. But when they turned their gazes to the center of the scene, Mechanical Zombie was already grasped in Zombie's hand. This scene left Violet stunned at a distance. What exactly did Zombie do just now? Weren't we supposed to be annihilated? The scene shifts back to Zombie, only to see that the lower half of Mechanical Zombie's body had already been destroyed. Despite this, Mechanical Zombie had not died. Instead, he even praised, "Worthy of being my original form. Impressive, impressive." Just then, Mechanical Zombie suddenly spoke up. "Actually, I can feel that deep down, you still kind of hate humans." Hearing this, Zombie was momentarily stunned. "So you were never under control? I could have been Mr. Nice Guy inside your body, but you had to share me with others." Upon hearing this, Lanchi and Violet looked on in surprise. "I was originally just a strand of bloodline within you, and I never thought about escaping. When you shared me with Dawn and others, you must have anticipated that something like today would happen. Humans are inherently greedy, and when they acquire great power, they become even crazier." Then appeared Violet, then Lanchi. "Think about it. Which of these things happened without your permission? You knew well the strength of your own genes, yet you allowed them to compete for it. So, without your permission, who could control me? You guys didn't really think that bald guy could command me. I'm merely a strand of gene in your body. When I gained freedom, the first thing I did was to fulfill my duty. Look at this world full of ruins. Are you sure all this was done by me? If not for your permission, how could I have been born? Thus, the true culprit behind all this is you. It's that trace of hatred towards humans deep inside you. As for me, I was merely following your thoughts, acting according to your will." Listening to Mechanical Zombie's account, Lanchi and Violet were stunned, and the humans watching the live broadcast were completely bewildered. Then Zombie finally spoke. "You've said so much, but what exactly do you mean?" "It's simple. I think you yourself should be aware. By now I have slaughtered billions of the global population. The humans now only fear you, and they might even plot against you behind your back. Rather than that, it might be better to kill them all and end it." But before he could finish, Zombie sternly refused. "Do you really think humans will be grateful to you? What can you do now, apart from turning them all into zombies?" After listening, Zombie paused for a moment. "I can bring them all back to life." Upon hearing this, Mechanical Zombie's eyes widened in disbelief. Before he could react, Zombie suddenly ran his finger across his own chest and pulled out his own heart. This action stunned Violet and others on the spot. What is he doing? After Zombie extracted his heart and held it over his head, he squeezed it forcefully, and the heart instantly turned into countless specks of blood that scattered in all directions. Soon, this blood flew to every corner of the earth. With the help of Zombie's blood, the humans who had been killed by Mechanical Zombie were quickly revived. Seeing this, Violet and the others were completely dumbfounded. "No way, can it really work like that?" At this moment, the generals of Country B were dumbfounded. What just happened? Weren't we dead? And the people who witnessed this miracle were even more astounded. The most distressed were Professor Jamie and his group, who after all their efforts ended up with nothing. The scene shifts back to Zombie. He was seen questioning Mechanical Zombie. "How about that? Are you satisfied now?" After Mechanical Zombie helplessly said, "I give up," it slowly dissipated into the air. Seeing this, Lanchi and Violet were also stunned. Is the battle finally over? At that moment, Zombie suddenly waved his hand, absorbing Mechanical Zombie's genes back into his body. "You can relax now." Just like that, the battle between Zombie and Mechanical Zombie finally came to an end. On the other side, the department head and his subordinate also arrived on the island. Seeing this, Violet quickly shouted, "You guys keep an eye on Professor Jamie and his team." As soon as she finished speaking, she and Lanchi dashed towards where Zombie was. Originally, it was thought to be a conspiracy by the ancient humans against Zombie, but it turned out to be a seed of hatred towards humans and Zombie's heart acting up. Perhaps out of guilt, Zombie ultimately chose to save all humanity. And when Mechanical Zombie disappeared, so did the hostility towards humans and Zombie's heart. The resentment completely evaporated. 2 hours later, Lanchi and Violet finally arrived at the scene. But when they saw Zombie in front of them, they were stunned. At that moment, Zombie had reverted to his original form. Seeing Zombie standing there motionless, Violet and Lanchi thought he was dead. After all, he had crushed his own heart with his hands. How could he still be alive? Just when Lanchi and Violet thought Zombie was completely gone, he suddenly opened his chest and said, "It's okay, the heart will grow back." Seeing this, Violet and Lanchi were speechless. They thought to themselves, how could this guy always be so infuriating? They then yelled at Zombie, "Can't you finish the fight quicker? Look at the destruction you've caused." Just then, Zombie suddenly noticed some fine particles in his hand. Violet quickly stepped forward. These seemed to be nanomachines developed by the ancient people. "It seems these little things quite like me, so I'll keep them for now. They might be useful later." Thus, as the great battle passed, the world welcomed a brief period of peace. However, Zombie's power had now been fully exposed to the world. world. What path should humanity take next? Meanwhile, in H City, which Zombie governed, since many buildings had been destroyed, all the residents were working overtime to rebuild their homes. However, the first thing they did was to hang up Varmin again. At this moment, on a private plane, the president is staring blankly at the newspaper in his hand. Just then, Violet and Lanchi walk in. Mr. President, you called us here for something? The president was reading a newspaper that labeled Zombie as a menace. Where is Zombie now? Upon hearing this, Violet is momentarily stunned. We don't know. He hasn't come to work for a long time since that incident. At this moment, the president suddenly slams the newspaper on the table and sighs. If things continue to develop like this, society might face problems. The scene switches back to Professor Jamie, where at this moment, the three of them are being escorted to another prison. Look outside the window. It turns out there was a large crowd of people waving flags in protest, and they were claiming that Professor Jamie was innocent, and he was their savior, the hope of humanity. Seeing this scene, the green-haired subordinate was dumbfounded. Professor Jamie was also helpless, surprised to find himself suddenly seen as the good guy. It seems Mechanical Zombie was right. Humans always fear those things they can't control. Although Zombie rescued them in their time of crisis, humans didn't feel much gratitude. Instead, they were terrified by Zombie's formidable power. However, there are also some fanatical extremists who worship Zombie's strength, believing he is a god, the deity who will lead them to the ultimate evolution. At this moment, the whole world was in disarray. On one side, the innocent are worshipping the villain, the criminals are worshipping the hero. If this continues, the entire world's order will collapse. However, amidst the human chaos, our protagonist Zombie was leisurely lying at home playing video games. But just as he was getting into it, a discordant voice suddenly interrupted him. Blackie awkwardly pushed open the door. My king, there seems to be something wrong with human society right now. To this, Zombie was unconcerned, instead asking Blackie if he wanted to join him for a game. My king, I'll pass on the game. Also, there are two guys outside begging to see you. At this moment, inside the hall, Ah Xiao and Agui were visibly nervous. Just as they were about to drink some tea to ease the awkward atmosphere, Zombie suddenly pushed the door open and asked, Who's looking for me? It's you two. What brings you here? We have met the king. We ask for your blessing.